Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to KingPittdawg Racing. My name is Kevin, and we are here for a full review of the HECS Season 2024 that starts in just one day. That's right, we're kicking off the Season 3 of our Hobby E-Racing Challenge Series, rebranded from the Holiday Exhibition Challenge Series that was created to fill in the gaps in the Gran Turismo series. But I'm going to touch on everything that you need to know going into this season. Okay, first off, everybody's wanting to know what are we doing? Okay, so we're going to be starting off, and this will be tradition. We're trying to mimic what happens in real life here. So we're going to kick things off at Daytona Road Course. In our version of the 24 hours of Daytona, the 2 for 1 hour and 24 minutes of Daytona at Daytona Road Course, we will be driving in Group 2 cars, the NSX, GTR, and RCF from 2016, the GT500 cars. Those are the only 3 cars allowed in Class 1, and then we'll have a second class running with it, and that'll be our own HSSR spec race cars. Okay. I'll get into more of those details now, but we're going to step back here and just take a look at what the HECS is, what we've had. The HECS, again, I designed this because I was trying to find something to fill in the gaps between the Gran Turismo World Series when they take the break over the holiday season. So that's where the initial name, the Holiday Exhibition Challenge Series, came from. And we initially did that 9-event series in about a month and a half, and that was way too much work. So last year we tried to simplify things, and we did a full season, which we ran throughout 2023. It was our season 2, and we worked on things and did some fine tuning, created some new things, and by the Fall Championship Series last year, we had a good format that we're going to be using as our base format going forward. So what is HECS? HECS, again, we're rebranding it over to the Hobby E-Racing Challenge Series. And again, same logo, same everything there, still myself administering it. We're still running the same basic platform here on Gran Turismo, and you see the world, the GT world here. Gran Turismo, this is on the PlayStation Network. This is a PlayStation exclusive game created by Polyphony Digital. And we run in the lobby, and I'll go down here and point that out. We run a lobby, and then I set up what are called lobby rooms and create them with the parameters allowed in the sim here. So this is a sim game. I don't consider this a full-on sim like something like iRacing. This is, again, we're able to do this without having to pay money to do it. So there are some limitations to what they can sim on this. iRacing is supposed to be coming out with a console version. So if that does happen, it's very possible we could switch over and start using some of that. So what we do, and oh man, I hit the wrong button there. I meant to go over. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a room, and I already have everything set up. So when we create a room, we got to load the settings, and there it is, the HECS Season 3, Event 1, Daytona Road Course, 2 27-lap races. I'm probably going to bump this up to 28-lap races, but I want to see what these Group 2 cars run, because last year we were running Group 1 cars, which are considerably faster. So this is how we set up a room. We set it up, and we are at the Daytona International Speedway, and this is using the road course version of the Daytona, not just the tri-oval where the NASCAR boys run. We are going to be setting this up here with these parameters for the race, and again, I'm just going to go ahead and bump this to 28 laps, but we'll verify that. This is going to start in the afternoon. We're mimicking the 24 hours of Daytona. We've increased our speed rate to 8 times, and we're going to finish this off at the night. So what are we at? 2, 1. So we'll just, this will be a rolling start. We'll have 2 classes of cars in this rolling start. Fastest first, based on our qualifying order, which I'm actually going to set. So this is actually going to be changed over to practice race. And then I will be setting the grid set by host. We can't balance performance, but we are going to have specific settings for the cars that you go into. This is how we set up the room. Visible damage on, light mechanic. Our fuel, tire and fuel consumption rate are going to be 4 times at this event because it is mimicking a longer event. Everything else is basically set as real as we can set everything up. There's no limits on category. I will be setting the PP limit after we run our practice tonight. So just letting everybody know, we'll get that stuff up there. I cannot balance these cars out between 2 classes, so I'm going to have to use the honor system here to make sure everybody's in spec on their cars. So I'm going to be going over all of that in this video. So this is how we set a room, and I just fixed that a little bit. We're going to make this 228 lap. And again, that'll be for the one class, because the one class will probably go past the other ones 2 or 3 times. So those cars won't run but maybe 22 or 24 laps, somewhere around there. We'll see how that works out with the 2 classes of cars. So that starts off letting you know what's going on this weekend. So the new format for the HECS is going to be 2-day events. So we'll have what I'm just deeming as MRQ. Main race qualifying, that's our qualifying, and our qualifying heat races. And it'll usually be 3. There will be a few exceptions. Quad events will have an exception there, where we will have 4 qualifying heat races, because most quad events, which means we're going to have 4 main event races, will be split up between different tracks. Some of these are going to stay at the same tracks. Some of them will move to different tracks. But this particular event, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be at Daytona. This weekend, Friday night, tomorrow night, we're doing qualifying and qualifying heat races, 1, 2, 3, in 2 classes of cars, and we'll be running those at Daytona Road Course. Next week, we're going to be running the main race, which is going to be the inaugural race I've put up in honor of my father, who passed away, who was a massive race fan. The RJP Memorial 400K, that'll be a night race, and that'll be next Saturday night. Will be the actual main race, and that'll be 400K. It'll be running 3 races or stages, so there'll be points for your position at the end of each stage, which is going to be just ran as separate races, but we're going to score it at points as one race. And then each stage has 10 bonus points for the winner, and then all the way down to 1 point for 10th place. So it's very similar NASCAR style. The difference is we can't quite continue a room, so we're just going to make them 3 different races. Tomorrow, Sunday afternoon, we'll be running our main races here, the 2 for 2 races for 1 hour and 24 minutes, or about 42 minutes each race. That's creating our 24 hours of Daytona Mimic race, and that will be not stage racing. That'll be 2 separate races that will be scored as 2 separate main races. So a little bit different than what we normally do, but the format is going to be pretty much the same. 3 qualifying heat races and qualifying. That sets your main race qualifying, and that is the average of those 3 finishes in the qualifying heat races will determine main race qualifying, which is a starting position for the first main race on the 2nd day of the event. So we have events through the series, 5 events in the spring series, 5 events in the summer series. That's our regular season. That determines our eligibility for the fall championship series. And you've got 6 eligible drivers from the spring series, and then the next 6 in finishing order in the summer series. So the same people may be 1 through 6 in the summer series, but just 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 would be eligible for the fall championship series. Okay, so starting off there, that's a basic overview of our races, how we're handling them. Again, they're going to all be a little bit different, but the format will be the same. MRQ night and then main race night. Okay, main race will not have qualifying. Main race night is already determined by your qualifying heat race nights. I know I'm going to have this question, so I'm going to answer it right now. Anyone who misses the qualifying heat race night would just start at the back of the field based on the number, their entry, or their standings in the points. Okay, so if I have 2 people that miss qualifying heat race night, based on how you sit in the points or how you finished last year in the points, would determine where you start. Once we get past these 2 races, everything's going to be based on current season point standings. So that should clarify that for everybody. Okay. So we've touched on what the HECS is. We've touched on what we're doing for the basic races. Points. Points are very simplified from what I had. When I first started this, I came up with this crazy point system that I wanted to say, oh, well, more cars you're in the field, the more points you'll score and things like that, because I wanted to encourage people to come in and race and help everybody out. But what I found out from that is that it's really very difficult to give people points, because you have to go in and figure all of that and then go through. So that was really difficult. So we simplified the point system. So there's 3 different items for our points series. Okay? Because we run events and not races, or not like a round of races, we're running an event which is comprised of multiple races, at least 4 races in every single event. So we've broken down the points based on the qualifying heat race nights, the main race night, and then also event points for both of those combined. So it's really simple. But what I've come up with is what's called, I call it the BURP system, which is bonus, event, and race points combined. Okay? So bonus points, the only bonus point we have during a race that is not laid out before the race starts is a fast lap bonus. And that is every single race. It's going to be your qualifying heat races and your main races. Whoever has fast lap gets 1 bonus point. And that is the only bonus point that I give out in the whole series, other than championship points. And that we'll get into that later. That's actually really super simple. So bonus points, there's 2 times during every event where you're going to get an opportunity for 10 bonus points based on how you qualify and how your average finish is based on MRQ, or the qualifying heat race night. So in other words, each first race, whether it be qualifying night or main race night, you're going to get 10 points for how you start in that. So the first night on qualifying heat race night is based on your qualifying. So qualifying basically is points. Okay, and it's 10 for first, 1 for 10th, and nothing below that. It's that simple. Main race qualifying, again, your average finish of those 3 qualifying heat races. Okay, whoever had the best average finish gets the 10 points. And then all the way down to 10th place gets 1 point. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very simple. Again, main race qualifying and qualifying are exactly the same as far as points. That's why I've kind of put those together. They're at the front of the race. The other bonus points you get for starting are based on your starting 5 spots, the top 5 spots in qualifying heat race 2 and 3, or if there's more than one main race, it'd be main race 2 if there's just 2, main race 2 and 3 if there's 3, and if it's quad event, there'd be 4. Okay, and that's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, most important, and this is going to be across the board, all the races, so there shouldn't be any questions. We are going to do a die roll invert after the first races of each night. Okay, after the first races, all the finishing order would be a die roll invert of the previous race's results. For example, tomorrow night at Daytona, okay, we're gonna have a dual class field. So your first cars are going to be likely be the Group 2 cars, okay? If we just have, so let's just use an example, say we have 6 of each, just to make it easy to figure out here. If we have 6 of each, and we would roll a single die. So both fields would be inverted, whatever that die roll is, to that number. So if there's 6 cars and I roll a 6 on the die, then the full field would be inverted. And that's both classes, okay? So first place in the first race would start 6th. Okay, and again, we're at a 12-car example. Okay, so that's the best example I can give you of that. That should clarify it for you. If we roll a 3 on the die, we're going to be inverting the first 4 spots. So we're going to clarify that this year. There was a little bit of a mistake So if there's 3 spots, you invert the field 3. You're not going back. First place is not going back to third. First place is going back to fourth. Okay? So that, just so you know that we were doing that wrong last year, and I kept it consistent through the rest of the year. But this year, we're going to fix that. So the invert is going to be, because if you roll a 1, you got to go back 1 spot, regardless. So it's a +1 on the die roll invert. Okay? And then again, the top 5 get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 points. Very simple. That's your bonus points. Now, when we have stage races, instead of getting points for the race, there will be stage bonus points, which are going to just be your 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just like your qualifying heat races. And that'll be based on the finishing order in that stage, the starting order in the second stage, which is technically another race, but we're not scoring it that way. Okay, so that gets us through all of our potential bonus points. There is also championship points, which is, there's only going to be 10 of them total. And the championship points as far as per event, because you get 1 championship point for being the overall winner of an event. And that goes into your championship points at the end of the year. I'll get into that in just a moment. Let's get this stupid Red Bull crap cars off the screen because it's annoying, for one. All right. So I'm going to get you in here, going to get through this points here, and then I'll get through here. The points, to paint a picture for you, it's difficult, but I'm going to go through it, and we're almost done here. Because once we get past the bonus points, everything gets pretty simple. Okay, so the second part past the bonus points is the event points, and that is very simple. Overall average finish of the entire event. That would be main race qualifying and the main races. So both nights, the overall average finish. And that, again, is on a chart. The top 5 are the best, get the most points. First is going to get 100 points. Second is going to get 97. Third is going to get 95. Fourth is going to get 93. Fifth is going to get 91. And anything from 6th on down is 1 point difference. So it's potential we could have 30 people participating in an event if they didn't show up. I mean, that's just very, very unlikely to happen. But I'm just saying it's 1 point all the way down to 16th. Okay, and then past that, it's just 75 flat across the board. Okay, so that is your event points. Very simple. Qualifying heat race points, very simple. Across the board, same thing. You win, you get 20. Second, you get 18. And then it's 1 point down to 10th place. So it's 20, then 18, 17, 16, 15 for 5th, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10 for 10th. And then anybody that finishes beyond 10th place gets 10 points. Okay, so if you DNF on there, this is where I have mentioned this before, and it's especially important in the qualifying heat races. If you have a problem, to go in and change your tires to soft tires, because mediums are our spec tire, soft tires, and try to get that fast lap bonus, because then you would have the equivalent of a 9th place finish, even if you might have finished 15th. So just, that's something to keep in mind, and I've gone over that time and time again. So then we got main event race point, or main race points. Okay, so these would be considered our main part of the event. It's based on roughly 100 points, so there's really not a lot of differences. I tried to break it down as best I could for it to be almost exactly even, but I figured if you win a single main race, that's worth at least 1 extra point over if you win 1 of 2 main races. So the points breakdown for main events are as follows. On a single main race, again, like our race next weekend, the RJP Memorial 400K, first would be 101 points, then 3 back to second at 98, 95 for third, 93 for fourth, 91 for fifth, and then beyond that, it's 1 point down to 12th place, and 12th place on down would get 84 points. Okay, so again, it's 101, 98, 95, 93, 91, 90, 89, 88, 87, 86, 85, 84 for 12th. And then, again, 12th through 16th would be 84 points. Again, there's where that fast lap bonus. You could finish 16th in a race and get the points that you would get for 11th place if you got that fast lap bonus in that race. So, again, make that choice, because some of the HSSSR cars you cannot run soft tires on and keep them within our spec. All right, so our race Sunday afternoon is main race. It's a two-part main race. So the points will be 50 for first, 48 for second, 47 for third. And then from fourth down, it's just 1 point down to 12th, where it's 38 points. And then 12th through 16th would get 38 points. Okay, again, I don't want people to get discouraged having a bad day. As long as you're racing with us and you can finish in the 12th place in our main races or 10th place in the qualifying races, you're going to get the same points as, you can finish dead last and get the same points as 10th. It's only fair to just keep the points battle as close as we can across the board. So, the most of the races that we have, as I've stated before, would have 3 races in them. Okay, we will have our first quad event this year as far as scoring, so I'll touch on the quad points. It's almost identical, it's just less. So in our 3 race main events, or what I call the triple main, so we got a single main, dual main, triple main, and quad main. So, or I call this a tri-main, tri-main. So 33 for first, 31 for second, 29 for third, and then beyond that it's 1 point down to 12th place, where you'll get 20 points. And 20 points there in 12th place would be the same as the equivalent of winning a qualifying heat race, just so you know how important that is. And then 12 through 16 is 20 points. Now, new for this year, I've added in what I'm calling attendance points, because I was on the fence about that last year in the Fall Championship Series. And we added those attendance points in, but I didn't have the second part of the new point system for this year, and that's loyalty points. So what's the difference between attendance points and loyalty points? Well, attendance points are if you participate in the event, and you only have to run one race, there is a minimum level of points you're going to get. So it's very simple. You won't get any bonus points, obviously, but event points, you're going to get 75 points minimum. Okay? So that doesn't matter where you finish. And it's possible you could attend and get better than that. So I don't want you to think that if you miss a half a race, you're only going to get so many points. It's possible there's going to be more than one person that can't attend tonight. I understand that this is a hobby e-racing challenge series. So I'm trying to give out these points for people being loyal to the series, and it should show up in the overall standings and not make you just completely bomb your season for missing an event. So, across the board, event points, 75 points if you attend any part of the 2-night event. Okay? 75 points minimum. All right? I'm going to score you for 8 QHR points. Okay? So, instead of getting the minimum 10, you're going to get 8. So, there's very little hit there for missing. Again, once you get past 10th place in the qualifying heat races, you're pretty safe. Okay? Pretty safe getting some decent points. So, main event races. A single main, 80 points minimum, okay? If you're attending any part of the event. Dual race. A dual main is going to be 36 minimum points. A tri-main is going to be 18 minimum points, okay? And again, as I mentioned before, loyalty points, what I'm calling this. And I cannot calculate these until the end of the season, Now, as I mentioned, we have the spring series, the summer series. Those determine the eligibility for the fall championship series. So, if you participate in three of the spring series or summer series events, and again, you have to participate in three in each, not just 3 total. Okay, so if you're in the spring series here and you run the first 3 events, but you can't come into event 4, so you miss it completely, you're out of town, whatever, you can't get to the event, you can't participate at all, I'm going to give you loyalty points as long as you run 3 of the 5 events. So if you've won those 3 or 5 events, I'll tabulate your points based on that for not only the 3 races you attended, but then we're going to add in these loyalty points at the end of the season to determine final standings. And the loyalty points are as follows. There's no bonus, obviously, but event points, you'll get at least 50. Okay? Qualifying heat races, I'm going to score you at 5 points. Okay? I don't want to give away the farm here, but it's basically half of the minimum points. So main race, a little bit different. I'm going to give you a little bit more. I'm going to get 50 on a single race, 25 on a dual race, and 16 on a quad race, or a tri-race. And then a quad points, they're a little different, but it's basically the same thing. So just a quick breakdown on the quad races, because there's only going to be 2 of those at this point. So quad race points, just like your, let me find it here, because there we go. Okay, so quad race points, again, it's going to be down to 10th, and then everything will be the same after 10th. So on your main race, I'm sorry, this one, the quad race will be 11th instead of 12th, where everything will be the same. So the quad race will be 25 for a win, 23 for second, 22 for third, 21 for fourth, 20 for fifth, 19 for sixth, 18 for seventh, 17 for eighth, and 16 for ninth, and then 10th would be 15, and then anything past 15 would be 14 points. And your minimum points would be 12, your attendance points, and then loyalty points would be 8 per race. So again, I'm trying to do this to compensate. We know everybody's not going to be able to make every race. So that is the point system broken down. Okay, that should give you guys everybody an idea of what we've got going on the points. I will post all this stuff up. I've already posted some of this, and I did post the points up and all that in the HECS S3 chat. So we've gotten through what is the HECS. We've gotten through the points. We've touched on the series, so let's touch on the schedule and how we're doing. So what I've done is I've aligned the spring series, again, 5 events, and again, each event compromises 2 nights of at least 4 races. All right, I'm going to beat this into everybody's brain until they understand it. So we are kicking off event 1 of the spring series, which is also the overall event 1, and that is going to be tomorrow night at Daytona, kicking off main race qualifying night, and that will be starting roughly 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and that's going to be pretty much our base time. Now, we're going to have some things to get through tomorrow night because we're going to have our draft, and I'll go over that here in a little bit. So we get to choose cars. But tomorrow night will be our main race qualifying night, and then Sunday will be our main races, our 2 for 1 hour and 24 minutes of Daytona. And again, that's going to be a mimic of the 24 hours of Daytona. Next weekend, which is the 29th and the 30th, this is going to be Friday and Saturday night, because it'll be a night race for the main race. We're having a single main race, so this will be the least amount of races we'll have. We are going to be starting off at Daytona in these trucks right here, and these are the Craftsman trucks, I call them, or they're now being affectionately known as the crap trucks. So what these are is these are the off-road trucks from the that we have available in the game, and we've made them into race trucks. Basically the same overall build, and I'll get into that here shortly, that we have for all of our own spec race cars. And you can see right here we've got our not Super Cup, but our Cup cars, our HECS Cup cars. Okay, and I'll go over that. But right now we're going over the schedule. So Craftsman trucks tomorrow night are going to be how we're going to qualify. Not tomorrow night. Next Friday night is going to be how we're going to qualify. That is the 29th we'll be qualifying and running our first race in these Craftsman trucks. I'll get into the build here after we go over the schedule, but the Craftsman trucks, last year we had to run just the Tundras because the SVT Raptor didn't keep up, so I've upgraded the Raptor and we've dropped a little bit of weight off the Tundra because we're gonna try to get the Raptor up to speed. We're not gonna spend a lot of time on this, so if it comes down to it, we'll just go back to the one make Tundra because it made good racing and it didn't really matter. But I'd really like to get to where we can have both trucks, and hopefully maybe someday they'll add like a Ram TRX in here or something, and then we'd have 3 makes we could run on these. But again, that's our first 2 events. I'm calling it Race Weeks at Daytona. We got the road course this weekend and the oval next weekend. So again, we start off our first night next weekend in the Craftsman trucks, and then we go over to, these are our cup cars, with the closest thing I could do to mimic NASCAR race cars. So our basic overall race car build in our tuning shop and customizing center. And we come up with these 2 new models for this year, the M3 and the RCF. We were trying to develop the Mustang GT, but there's a glitch in the game, and you can see the performance points level just isn't there on that car. So we've switched over to the main Ford car as being the Shelby GT350R. And we'll run our qualifying and first race in the Craftsman trucks, and then our qualifying race 2 and 3, and our main race, the RJP Memorial 400K, will be run in the Cup cars, and that's these cars right here. And these are all prototypes. I don't have these. I do have ones with liveries down here, so I've got multiples of these cars that we've been using for development. So here's all my liveried cars, my 350R, my Camaro SS's, my Mustang GTs, and my Crowns, which I ran the Crown last year, and it ran pretty good. But that's the closest thing I could get to a Camry like the NASCAR V8 NASCAR cars. All right, so that is event number 2. So we're getting our first 2 events out of the way in the first 2 weeks here, and that's why I'm calling it Race Weeks at Daytona, kind of like Speed Weeks at Daytona. But in this case, we're just changing it up. I don't want any copyright infringements. We're just trying to mimic what they do in real life on this Hobby E-Racing Challenge series. So after we get done with Daytona, we're going to be going for spring event number 3. That'll be the weekend of April 19th, 20th, and 21st. Haven't set the actual full dates for the race on that. We're probably going to race that one a Sunday afternoon. But that'll be our Around the Earth event, and that'll be a quad event. So we're going to run 4 different tracks. At this point, it's a topless Barcelona, Mount Panorama, and probably Road Atlanta here in the U.S. So we'll be literally going around the world, or around the Earth for Earth Day, which I believe is the 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. And then we've got Spring Event 4, which is May 10th and 11th, and that is Mother's Day weekend. So we're going to be running again Mother's Day at the Spa. We'll be running at the Spa racetrack in Belgium. And I can actually click on these tracks here, rather than just leaving this truck up here. Let's do this. We'll go through the circuits, and we'll click on the circuits while I'm going through the calendar. So again, we're starting off our racing down here at Daytona International Speedway, and we'll be running both the road course and the so if we go to custom race here, we can kind of, so the tri-oval and the road course, we'll be running the road course this weekend and the tri-oval next weekend. All right. Week 3, again, Around the Earth. We're going to be ending up here at Road Atlanta, probably. I may change that. But we're going to be starting off over here at Otopolis in Japan with the full course. This one here, and these will be in our HSSR cars, and I'll go over that. So that'll be race 1 on qualifying. That'll be the race we qualify at and race 1. So that'll set our initial qualifying and our qualifying heat race 1 will be run there. Okay, and then from there we're going to go to Mount Panorama Circuit in Australia. In fact, we're actually probably going to jump over because this is actually considered in Bathurst Australia. So again, I'll click on the custom circuit here so you can see the full course is where I'll be running that one. 3.86 miles. This is a really challenging technical track. They actually go up. You drive up the mountain and drive down the mountain. so it's definitely an interesting track. There's walls on both sides. There's not a lot of runoff, not a lot of room for mistakes. But the HSSR or HISR cars that we call them are really controllable, so they should be a good fit for that track. You won't see some of the speed you'll see in some of the other cars, but it'll be a fun race at a technically demanding track. Let's call it that. All right, so that's the second part of our event, and then after we go there, we're going to go to Europe. Again, we're going around the Earth. We're going to start in Japan, go to Australia, swing up in through Circuit de Barcelona in Spain, and we'll be running the Grand Prix layout. So that will be the main one with the chicane, and that is going towards the front stretch. Again, we'll be in the HISR cars, so we don't have to worry about mass. We don't need the chicane for calming down massive speed, but we also don't get a lot of speed out of those. So that'll be Barcelona, and then as mentioned before, we will wrap up in the United States, and it's either going to be here at Road Atlanta, the full course here, or it could be, and Road Atlanta is a good HISR track. We might run Willow Springs, although Willow Springs, I think, running Big Willow, the ping pong gun, running that one. We may run that one later, so that is not determined yet which one of the tracks that's going to be. All right, so that is your Around the Earth event in April, and then we've got Spring Event 4. Again, we will be going to Europe, and we'll be going to Circuit de Spa, Francorchamps, and again, get Mother's Day at the Spa, and we'll be running this one in the full course, not the 24-hour layout. I think the 24-hour layout, just the difference is where the pit area is. So we're running that in the full course, and again, most of these races, this one will be 3 races, and it'll be in this is probably going to be in Group 3 cars, because this is a good track for Group 3 cars. So it'll be Group 3 or Group 4, probably Group 3. Hey, Steve. And then we will have, after we get done in May, we will go into the end of May, after Mother's Day weekend. We have a couple weeks, and we will start our 2-part Spring Championship. All 3 championship events.
Season 2 winner.
Yes, sir. That's Steve Sanders, our 2023 HECS champion. So we're going to run the Spring Series Championships the weekend of Memorial Day here in the USA, which is the 24th, 25th, and 26th, and the following weekend, the 31st and the 1st of June. So part 1 is probably going to be a review of the Around the Earth track, so we might just run those all again as part 1, and then part 2 could be open. I've got a couple of ideas I'm tossing up about that. It very well could be in the Cup cars again. We could be in the Cup cars again on that, but that is to be determined. Summer Series. We'll be staying in Europe here because we're going coinciding with the 24 Hours of Le Mans. We're going to run our 2 for 24 Hours on Le Mans, and that is going to be at this long Circuit de la Sarthe full course.
Season 3 winner.
Did I say Season 3 winner? No, I said 2023 champion. So Steve was a 2023 champion. Nook Holmes was our 2022-23 champion, so Season 1. Because that championship went from, November to January.
No, I'm talking about me.
Oh, okay. So you want to be the 2024 season champion. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Ask Riona here on the channel. This is Makoto. He is in France, but he hails from Japan originally. So some international flair to our series here. And Makoto, I want to thank you right here on this video for helping out everything you've done to help out. Also, Steve, Steve runs his own series as well that I participate in, and I've promoted those here on the channel. Thank you guys, everything you guys have done. We're really making this thing more professional. Everybody's getting better.
Calling his shot, LOL.
Yes, he is. So Makoto calling the shot. So we'll see how that goes here come December 22nd. We'll see how that holds up. So everybody watching this video, make yourself a note to see how Makoto does. But yes, Makoto has helped us with decals and such. Something I do not know how to do. Steve's helped out with a lot of stuff, especially administrative. So thank you very much, Steve, running practices for me here when we were having problems, technical problems and stuff like that. So thank you, guys. So this is going to be our summer series start. It's going to start with the beginning of summer, which is June 21st and 22nd. And we'll be running 3 qualifying heat races. They'll be pretty short. This track is, what, even in a fast car, a Group 1 car. So we're going to try to run 2 classes here. Group 1 cars here for sure. And then if we can run hissers here, that would be also advantageous if we can do that. So we're going to try to do that just like we're doing at Daytona. Similar format for both spring and summer series. Try to keep things consistent. So this will be, again, just like our Daytona race, we're going to try to mimic a 24-hour Le Mans race. So we'll start the first race off in the afternoon, the second race off in the night. We won't be resetting the field, just like...
Pleasure,
absolutely. Thank you guys so much. And again, congratulations to Steve on our championship. And another announcement here that I'm going to kind of poke in here. Steve has decided he's going to run the number 1 car this year, which is his option as our series champion. So he is going to run the number 1. And again, we'll be starting off this event 1 of the summer series, or our overall event 6 here at Le Mans. So then our next event after Le Mans is going to be back in the USA for Independence Day weekend, July 5th, 6th, and 7th. Again, I haven't set the actual specific dates yet. But we'll probably, again, this could be at WeatherTech. This could be, I'm actually going to possibly journey outside real tracks this time. We might use Blue Moon in Cup cars. But again, it's going to vary how we set all the other ones up before. It could be at Road Atlanta or Willow Springs. But Watkins Glen is likely going to be the track that I'm going to run the Spring Series Part 2 at. So we probably would have that already used up by then. All right. So Independence Day weekend, that's going to be all at one track. We're not going to bounce back and forth that one. That'll be that. If we do that at Big Willow or some other track, we'll try to mimic something by doing that. We're going to try to imitate something in real life with all of these tracks. So middle race of the summer, I tentatively have that set for the Tokyo Street Race. And that one, depending on how we fill in these other races, that could be either the third event or the fourth event. And again, third and fourth events are both open, but that'll be July 26th and 27th. And then our fourth event would be August 16th and 17th, 16th, 17th, 18th. Again, I'm going to try in the summer. My goal in the summer is to run everything Friday and Saturday nights so people can have their Sundays off. So hopefully we can do that. The only exception to that is going to be the KingPittdawg Racing 500K, which will be the championship Part 2 final event of the regular season. And that will definitely be on a Sunday afternoon. And that's going to be Sunday afternoon, September 1st, the day before Labor Day. Okay, that'll definitely be our KingPittdawg Racing 500K. That's just the same thing we did last year. We're going to do it this year the same way. And that'll be in our Cup cars, and that'll be at Daytona. We'll probably run the trucks as the qualifying and the qualifying heat race, just because I want to get some more use of these trucks out there. Qualifying heat race 1, and then qualifying heat race 2 and 3 would be in the Cup cars, just like our RJP Memorial 400K this next weekend.
Afternoon. Evening for me then?
Yes, sir. Yeah. It'll be just like our normal when Steve runs. We'll run, 6, 7 o'clock at night, and it'll be a single race with the 3 stages. So technically 3 races, but it'll be scored as 1. Stage racing. So we'll run, And that'll be 500, so that's going to be 150 laps, where the 400K is going to be 125 laps. So that's probably just going to be, I'm probably just going to break that down 60, 40, 25 on the stages. So the last run would be 25. You'll probably have to pit in the first two. We'll have to see how the cars use fuel at the higher downforce settings we're putting in them for this year. So, all right, so that gets us through our 4 events and into the championship and the Summer Series. And again, Summer Series championship, I'm going to try to squeeze that whole entire championship there in one weekend if we can. That's going to be a little bit of a push, but it should be kind of fun. So this will be one of the few nights we run. Try to run the full event for the qualifying heat race night and the main race night for the part 1. And that's going to be pretty short races, because what we're doing for part 1 of the Summer Series Championship is the Goodwood Wide Body Fiesta. And the first race will be in pre-1980s hissers. The second race will be in 80s and 90s hissers. And the third race will be in 2000 plus, so anything newer than 2000. Now, I've made a little bit of an exception on there because there's some cars that are in 99 and 2000. Any of the 99 and 2000 cars you can run both in the 80s and 90s and in the 2000s. But the car draft is going to come into effect there, so be prepared. I've made some more cars, and I'll get into that in just a few minutes. Now, the Championship Series I have not set at all, but I do have the dates tentatively set. We will finish up at Daytona. Like we're doing, we'll basically be flipping the field. So we'll be running very similar here at Daytona on the road course. And the other part of the Championship Series will be a probably 500K super speedway race at Daytona. So we'll be running Daytona 3 times super speedway and 2 times at least road course. Okay, so that is our full series. Again, Fall Championship Series is going to start with fall on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of September. Event 2, 11th, 12th, and 13th, that is tentatively set to be, because that's Columbus Day weekend, that's probably going to be Monza and possibly a track on this side of the earth. So tying Columbus from discovering the western part of the earth, we're probably going to run a race over here in the Americas, but we'll be at Monza for sure, and that's Autodromo Nazionale Monza, and we're going to run the full course. We'll run with the chicane. Always adds a little equalizer by having the chicane in there. And then again, we could come over and run Interlagos, which is in the Americas, because that's somewhat close to where Columbus, or we could run something else in the U.S. But we'll fill in these blanks as we go. But we'll definitely have a Columbus Day theme for that third event of the Fall Championship Series. And then the Fall Championship Series, I don't think I've been giving you dates. Yes, Fall Championship Series 2, Event 2, would be on that Columbus Day weekend, 11th, 12th, 13th. Championship Series, Fall Championship Series Event 3, November 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And the reason I'm probably going to make sure that's done Friday and Saturday is because daylight saving time is that Sunday, and I don't want people to miss because the clock's changed here in the U.S. and not somewhere else. So that'll probably be the 1st and the 2nd for sure. And then we're going to get almost a full 4 weeks before Fall Championship Series Event 4, and that's going to be on Thanksgiving. I got Steve wanting to run a dirt track on the trucks now, so we could do an exhibition there. That would be a good place for an exhibition, is right in the middle there, middle of November. So we might do that, run some really goofy crap that weekend. Just do a open event basically, and just keep running different races in our different cars. So I'm going to put that on there. I'm just going to put exhibition. I'm just going to type right E on there. EX. Let's do that. Good idea, Steve. I think that's what we'll do, because we're going to have some time off there. So, exhibition race weekend. And we could do 3 days that weekend. if we wanted, because Veterans Day is Monday. We could do that Monday. We could do a veterans theme, or people could run themes if they want. That would be kind of cool.
Or snow, hint, hint.
Snow as well. Yeah, we got our Craftsman trucks. So, yeah. All right. So now that gets us through 4 events, and then we'll be wrapping up our season. As mentioned, the last races for sure, which are probably going to be December 22nd. That's an afternoon on a Sunday. That'll probably be our Daytona. And then the week before would probably be Daytona Oval again. So that would be our championship events. So we're going to have to squeeze a lot of races because we're not hitting as many tracks. So look for some of these events to become multi-track events. And we'll see how things happen. I also want to fit that Multima Miata Mayhem in there somewhere, which we can probably fit in the Fall Championship Series, where we run 3 different divisions of the Mazdas and 3 different races. 3 different types of builds on the Mazdas where we did that. That was super fun. Those cars are an absolute blast, those Mazda MX-5s. I think we had like a really super stock car set up on normal tires. We had a...
most of the date. Gonna have to rewatch to finish my planning.
Don't worry, Makoto. I'm also going to write them down here. I just don't have it done. I want to do all of them. I want to give everybody all of them. So I'm putting everything in a list, and I'm trying to make events in Facebook, but I'm not doing very good because I don't have the actual full-on dates yet. So I don't want to make a final event in Facebook, but I will give you guys the date ranges for all the races. And again, summer series, all the summer series are probably going to be the Friday, Saturday night deal. Just because I want to give you guys your Sundays off. And I know that you, Makoto, and Escarterio over in Europe, you're already into Monday on those races. So we're going to try to keep as few of the Sunday afternoon races as we can. Again, there may be a few required, but we'll try to do as few as possible. And we'll try to boogie through those as well, get through them as fast as we can to get you guys off on your days. So, that, again, we're March 22nd to December 22nd this year, and we're spread out, and we're giving you guys some time off, and now looking at having that exhibition there in the middle of November. So keep your eye out for that, and I'll go from there. HECS basic.
Finish the Monday at like 6 a.m.
Yeah, I know, and I apologize. Yeah, I know. I try to work around it, but then we also have people that can't do stuff earlier on Sundays. So yeah, it's harder. It's hard to balance for everybody. But we're going to do what we can to try to do most of the events on Friday and Saturday nights this year. There may be a few exceptions, but I'll let you guys know plenty ahead of time, and we'll do what we can there. All right. So now we've gotten through our schedule. We've gotten through our basic overall for the races this weekend. But I want to introduce the draft. And what the draft is basically just a way of choosing cars. There's enough of these HSSR spec cars now, and I'll kind of just glance over the list of them here. So we've got at least 65 different cars, okay? Starting here with the Wicked Fab 51. I've added a few older ones, and I'll organize those better here in just a little bit. But this is our list of cars for the HSSR or HISR cars. And it goes all the way down here to the 22 Civic Type R. And I've got a list up here at the top. I'm going to go over here. This is going to be a fairly long video, so stay with me here, guys. These are the cars we're running this weekend for Group 2. This is going to be our main class at Daytona, these 3. The GT500 cars, you can see the performance points in these cars are all within 2 points. Roughly 2 points there. So I'm going to have everybody run the same specs on these cars. And I will go into those here shortly, but right now we're just doing an overview. We also have, again, the HSSR cars. Those are open for settings a little bit more. Couple of things to keep in mind on those. The room is going to be, the limit for the PP on these cars is 616. So if you can't get it to run on 616, you can't use the car, or you need to reset things to get it to that level. Okay, all of these cars are set at a prototype spec or a base spec or our HISR spec. And you can see the performance points are kind of all over the place, but they're all usually within, 30 points. 20 to 30 points. roughly. So different cars may be better at different places. You aren't stuck to a specific car, but we are introducing the draft. So now that we've got so many of these HSSR cars, I do not want to see the same cars being driven at an event. Okay, there may be an exceptions where I'll allow 2 or 3, but for this weekend, with the very minimal number of cars we're going to have in a class, there's only going to be 1. And then also these cars up here, for Daytona, I only want to see 2 of each in the class. So in the event we have, more than 6 participants per class, which we would have to have at least 13 people to do that. Here's how it's going to break down. Okay, it's pretty simple. Okay. What I've done is determine what I'm calling the draft, and basically that is the top 10 in points, and these first 2 races of the year we're going to use the top 10 from last year in points. We'll get first pick starting in 10th place, and the last pick would be first place our champion Steve. Okay, you're going to get the choice of the car you want to run. So tomorrow night at Daytona, the first thing we're going to do before when we start the drivers meeting after practice is over, is I'm going to go through the list, and I've posted that up in the HECS S3 official chat on the PlayStation app, that it is going to be dependent tomorrow night on if Kyle Ramsey is racing with us, because he is eligible for the draft. But if he does not participate, then JT, who finished 11th, would be our number 1 in the draft order for the first 2 races. So what is that draft going to do? The draft, if it's either JT or Adam, depending on if Kyle Ramsey is there or not, you're going to have not only your choice of class you want to run, but also which choice of car you want to run. So the first 2 of you could possibly pick the same car in the Group 2 class if you wanted to run that route. Or you can run an HSSR car. You could pick whichever one you want. But you guys get first choice, and once that choice is up on the HISR cars, there's no more. Okay? I'll touch on that a little more. Group 2 cars, I'm going to allow you to pick 2. So like I said, the first 2 could pick the same Group 2 car. But once that's done, until we have, it would be 7 people in the group. So we would have to have 13 or 14 drivers. Until we have 7, there's only going to be 2 cars in there. Once we have 7, then a third car could go in there. Okay? So, say for instance, Kyle doesn't show up, and JT is our first pick, and he says, hey, I want to drive the NSX. So he chooses the NSX, and then Adam comes in and says, hey, I want to drive the NSX. So he chooses the NSX. The third pick is only going to have the choice between the GTR and the RCF. Okay? So if third place chooses the GTR or RCF, either one, the next one could choose that other car. But once we get to the 5th person picking, if 2 have picked 2 different cars, then the only car left would be whichever one hasn't been picked yet. Pardon me. I know it sounds confusing, but it's actually really simple. I don't want to see a field of 6 cars and 5 of them being an Acura NSX. It's that simple. Okay, so I'm allowing 2 to be picked right away. But then once those 2 are picked, that car's done until we have additional people. And if we don't have additional people, that's it. That's why I'm instituting the draft. Same thing with the HSSR cars. And that would be more simpler. So if everybody, the first 5 picks, decide they all want to run HSSR cars, they all got to be different cars. Okay? And then 6th place, say we have 10 people in the field, 6th place would be only have the choice between the 3 Group 2 cars, because we got to fill the field up. I want 5 and 5. Okay? If we have less than 10 participants tomorrow night, we will default to the Group 2 cars, and there will be a maximum of 3 of each. So if we have 9 racers, there'll be 3 of each car. So it'll be just draft order. Sounds confusing, but it's actually really simple. Okay? Order a draft, you get your choice first. Okay? We're going to do the same thing with the Cup cars next weekend. The only exception I'm leaving on the Cup car for next weekend is Steve, because he's the champion. I allowed him to pick a car in the off season here, and he chose the Camaro. Okay, everybody else will have to pick a car based on availability. Okay, because I want every one of these cars used. Okay, so that'll go back to draft order. All right, and again, we're going to work on balancing these cars out during the qualifying races and practice, so don't be afraid that you're going to be stuck in the dust. The one car I have the most concern about in here now is the M3, and the reason I have the problem with the M3 is it's a very low displacement engine. Except I'm giving you the bonus on the Camaro. Yeah, I'm one ahead of you, so we're both in the same boat. But again, after these first two races, the draft is going to be based on the top 10 in points, so it'll be just a reverse of the top 10 in points. Okay, and then after you and I have chosen Steve, then if there's like 15 people in the room, then it would just go 11th, 12th, 13th in points. And then if it's just new entries, then it's just whoever's in the room first, if these people haven't raced with us yet. So it's that simple. Sounds really complex, but it really isn't. Actually, it's really, really super simple. I just want the field full of different cars. I don't want the same cars in the field. And this is the best way I figured it can do it, where it's fair. You and I being at the top of the list, realistically, we should be able to drive any of the cars and be competitive. So I think really anybody in the top 10 in our field could just about get in any of the cars and be competitive. So it's going to shake things up slightly, but
just messing around, I'll run whatever.
I'm the same way. I actually almost want to be stuck running something different, because I've been running this thing, the 3.0 turbo, and I'm not one to change, so I would hope to be forced to. So we'll see what happens. I've also considered running this one, and I know I like running the Spec R. I know I would like probably running this M3. So I'm not, again, I've suggested everybody figure 5 cars in the HSSR. If you can find 5 cars you like on that big list, and again, there's 60 some of them already, you should be fine off. Okay? All right, so now we've gotten a lot of information out here, and I've gotten a lot. I'm going to take a quick drink here. Give me just a second here, guys. Okay, so now we're going to get into some vehicle specifics for the next 2 weeks. All right, first and foremost, the 3 Group 2 cars. You can see I've got these things balanced out to where the performance points levels on them are 834.98, 834.38, and then 836.55. So this is about as close as you can get. Look at the power on these cars: 612, 614, 603. This one's slightly heavier, the NSX. The RCF's at 2249, and the GT500 GTR are both the exact same weight, within 2 horsepower. The thing I'm going to have everybody do, because I cannot BOP a 2-class field. So
I will definitely have to pick a new HSSR car, because the Toyota 86 will be gone.
Yeah, but don't remember, you got the BRZ too, so somebody will probably take that. But I don't know, we got a lot of extra cars, and I know that Eric liked driving that Nissan. That's a good car. It's a good driving car. It's a little thirsty, so you almost got to learn how to short shift on it. But I'm going to go over the specifics on the Group 2 cars for basically the whole season. But we're only going to probably use these once, maybe twice. But we're probably only going to use group cars once or twice during the season. So we're trying to move to our cars so we can concentrate on a real BOP and not this quasi-BOP that they do in Gran Turismo here. So, all right, so strap on. Here we go. We're going to get into car specifics now. Specifically these 3 cars and settings. I'm going to start with the Acura or Honda, and then we'll go Lexus and then Nissan in alphabetical order. So, all right, let's start with the NSX. So, I've already set everything up here in these cars. Now you can see if we go right down the list here, we got 834.98, 603 horsepower, 452 torque. We're at a 2-liter engine. All these are 2-liter engines. 2,313 pounds. This thing has a 48-52 weight split. We are not going to add any ballast or anything on these cars, but one thing I am going to require of of the cars is specific downforce, and the reason is to balance it out. Both the Acura and the Nissan have the exact same downforce, so we're going to max these both out, okay? Max those out. Body height, we're going to keep everything in this section right in the middle. I will allow you to change the anti-roll bars between 5 and 6 because there really is no exact center on these. 5.5 would be the center. I would probably suggest heavier. You may want to adjust it depending on how it practices for you. But I want everything set in the middle. So these will be even camber. And then all of these, whoops, this moved on us. Again, everything's set. I thought I set this last night. And you can adjust your differential gear. That doesn't affect your performance points. So you can adjust roll bar, differential gear, and then we'll be able to set the gearing on this. We might have to change these for the car. So again, no manual adjustments, but we're going to set the top speed, and that's how you'll set your car up. Start them all off on 300, and let's see how it works that way. At this point, I'm allowing you to adjust that. We may just leave it at 300. Let's start at 300 and see how the cars run. See what kind of lap times we can get out of them. I never noticed that this had the anti-lag, but we'll leave it on there. I think that's it for the Acura, Honda, and SX. So again, all the settings in the middle, including camber, to start with. We may adjust that if we see some massive tire wear. I think it'll be okay because this road course here at Daytona is super flat, so you probably would have a lot of camber in these things. But we're going to leave it at that just to kind of BOP these cars, okay? Again, you can adjust your roll bars from 5 to 6. You can adjust your differential settings, and you can adjust your brake balance. We'll see about leaving the transmission settings open. So that is your Acura NSX settings for tomorrow night. All right. The Lexus RCF GT500 2016. This car is a little bit different in that it actually allows more downforce, so we're going to take some downforce off of it. So understand that if you're driving it. In order to get the performance points up, I had to do that. So we took about 50 off of the other cars. So we're at 950 on the rear downforce and 725 on the front. So I had to take some off to get more performance out of this car. Probably straight line speed, I would guess, is what they're calculating there. Again, set your top speed for 300. You can change your brake balance however you prefer. But I want to see all of these settings in the middle. Okay? Everything. Why does this move again? We'll set these at 0. We might allow you to set the toe angle a little bit. And you can set your differential gear. So your settings right now, everything else is yellowed out. Consider it like BOP. Except for your roll bar between 5 and 6, again, because there's no center. I'm allowing you a little leeway there. And then your differential settings and your brake controller. And we will let you know on the customizable, the racing transmission top speed. At this point, set them all for 300. They should be pretty even. I mean, they're all within a few horsepower of each other. So that is the Lexus RCF GT500 BOP settings. So now we're going to jump into our GTR GT500, the Nismo car, and then this one, again, we're at the same settings as the Acura, full max downforce, full max front downforce, front and rear, 300 on the trans to start, brake controller you can adjust, differential you can adjust. Again, I swear I had these all set to 0. And then again, your anti-roll bar you can adjust. But all these other things, I want to see everything in the middle. And again, this will be BOP settings for these cars as until a further notice. It should drive pretty darn good. Again, the only adjustments, anti-roll bar, differential setups, and your brake controller. We will see about the top speed here. But these cars should be pretty equal where we got them set. The performance point level is coming out within 2 points of each car. So that is our settings for our Group 2 cars, our main class at Daytona this weekend Friday night and Sunday afternoon. And again, Friday night, we'll see how they race. We may make some adjustments between the races. And so there will be a little bit of time between the races as we try to set everything up. So I think that's all y'all need to know on those. The other cars we're running this weekend, the HSSR cars, I'm going to skip over those because I'm going to spend a lot more time on those, okay? So right now we're going to move on to next weekend, but the HSSR cars are spec 2,800 pounds, and I've got videos on the HSSR cars, so please go see those videos. You can build every car exactly to spec, and that's how I want to see it until we get further into development of these cars. So next weekend, again, we got the Craftsman trucks, which I touched on, but we're going to go into the specifics of these right now. Let's start with the Ford. Again, we've taken a standard Raptor out of the brand Central, and we've built it by starting off here in car maintenance and service. And again, every one of our car builds, whether it be the Craftsman trucks, the HECS Cup cars, race cars, or the SSSR HISR cars, all have the same basic build. The first thing you do on all the cars is build a wide body, okay? And that's what we've done here. The second thing we do, now the Craftsman trucks are going to be a lot different than the HISRs or the Cup cars. The HISRs and the Cup cars are going to be the exact same build across the board, and no car shows that better than the Crown, because we can build not only a Cup car Crown, but we can build a HISR Crown. And I have both of those built, and I'm going to touch on those at the same time just so you know what I'm talking about. But right now we're going to concentrate on our Craftsman trucks because there are specific things on these trucks. So, wheels, spec wheels on these. And you can find in the BBS store right here. They got a red tag on them. They're easy to find. These are your BBS racing wheel. Basically the same thing they use in NASCAR, only these show 5 lugs. NASCAR has the single lug. These are used in other series as well. When you do these wheels on the trucks, it's going to be 20-inch, and we're going to do wide, okay? That's already what I've got on the truck. I'm not going to reset it so it doesn't have to go through its whole application in that. But that is your wheel and tire, basically. The tires come on later. But that's your wheel, 20-inch, wide on both the Tundra and the Raptor. Okay? So, custom parts, a little bit different on these trucks, but basically we've got a couple options. We want to avoid the skid plate. I bought the skid plate, as you can see. If we ever run a dirt race, we're probably going to want the skid plate. So I bought this particular bumper. Again, it's the most aerodynamic looking thing we got. The other front bumper looks like just a drag machine. So we just put that one on there. And that is your front bumper basically for the super speedway races. Okay. Side skirts, we want nothing on there. So we're going to put down type B, that's just blank on the trucks. And the same thing for the Tundra, it's actually just the standard part. And then we got 2 different bumpers. This one here seems to be out of the air, so I chose this one. The rear bumper, because it looks, if you look at the up by the side, it looks like it's out of the air. Give us the most aerodynamic slip we can on this thing. No wings available on the truck, so different than your other cars, but we're not into that right now. We're a race truck, so make sure you put hood pins, whichever type you prefer. We don't have an option for tow hooks, because obviously this thing can be towed all over. Roll cage is not an option on either one of these trucks. Add in your light bulbs. Again, I do the super cools, which I for some reason didn't do on this truck. License plate type A, and the reason is branding. You can see I've got the KingPittdawg Racing license plate cover on there. Front grille, again, your option on that. Different lighting. I like the multiple lights on these. It looks pretty cool. So I've got this one on here. Caliper color, I set it to blue to match the truck. Originally we had this truck as red, but I'm going to leave it blue just because of Ford blue. And this is a base livery that I want you to use on the truck. So if you want to build a Raptor, I would suggest building both of them. They're not incredibly expensive, and the mods on them are pretty reasonable for the trucks. I will share this base livery so you can just load the style. Okay, I've already actually shared this livery. So if you go into style and you go on and find the style that I shared. So I'll show you how to do that later. You would go to load style, and then you would have to go to collection, and the one that you got from me that you clicked to add it to your collection, you would just click on that and load that, and that would load the base decals on the vehicle. Okay, I want to see the two logos, the windshield banner and the rear window banner, and then the license plate banner if we can as well. Just trying to cross promote everything. See, there's the one on the back window, and then also on the rear bumper. Now, I didn't have the one on the truck on the livery from last year, but I just shared this yesterday with this updated livery. So you can load this one up if you go find it in my shared items. So that is the Craftsman Truck cosmetic build for the Raptor. And then we've allowed some extra things. So we had some problems getting the Raptor up to speed. So we've allowed some extra things on the Raptor, which we already had on the Tundra. But the Tundra was already lower displacement. So now you see over here on the right, we've got 4,142 pounds and 550 horsepower. So what we got to do to get there, we got to go weight reduction stage 1, weight reduction stage 2, and then all of our cars are going to require power restrictor and ballast. They're 500 to 800 credits, so just buy them both. This particular one's going to require weight reduction stage 2, and then we'll come back to the engine stuff here in just a moment. Fully customizable computer, fully customizable LSD, increased body rigidity, and weight reduction stage 3. Racing items, again, we're going to go skip over the engine items for now. Both trucks require a racing air filter muffler and exhaust manifold, racing brake pads. Again, we're not buying this braking kit because we're going to buy the carbon ceramic brake kit. Okay, so you'll have that on the Craftsman trucks and the Cup cars. You're going to have the carbon ceramic brake kit. You're going to have the brake balance controller, fully customizable suspension. That allows us to drop this truck out of the air. The racing clutch and flywheel, and the torque vectoring center differential, which allows us to turn this basically into a rear-wheel drive truck. So then we're going to have the fully customizable racing transmission and our tires. You don't have to buy hard tires. Mediums are required. That is the spec tire across the board at the HECS. But you may want to get soft tires for some event in the future. You probably won't need it for this one because we're going to be running qualifying heat races. And you're definitely not going to run out of the draft faster on these trucks than you are in the draft. So there is your overall build. Don't forget the main difference between this, the Craftsman trucks, the Cup cars, and the hissers, the HSSR cars, are the brakes. Brakes and transmission. Carbon ceramic brake kit, fully customizable racing transmission. Okay? So that is your SVT Raptor Craftsman truck build. Now I'm going to go into the specific specs of it. Okay? So, right now we're allowing tentatively, we want to drop these things right down on the bump stops, okay? Sway bar, I put them both at 5 on both trucks. Let's do that. Make sure everything else is in the middle. We're going to zero out our camber angle and zero out our toe angle for the super speedways. You could play around with the differential if you want. I just set these numbers up because they seem to work good on other areas, that particular percentage of a split on other vehicles. We're going to run this thing at full on the ECU, no ballast, and 98 on the restrictor. Okay. Again, I set the top speed on these both at 300 to see how we do. We're probably going to have to adjust that. And you can set your brake balance controller. But you can see all the different things we've installed over here. Stroke up, engine balance tuning, polish ports, high lift camshaft, racing crankshaft. The reason I did this in this form is you can see that it's all the same pretty much on these now between the Tundra and the Raptor. So we're going to jump right over to the Tundra just so that's fresh in your mind, and we're going to go right to those settings. And you can see everything is basically the same now. Both engines are built up. This one, we are, because it was a lower displacement, lower power engine to begin with, we are running it full on out. So the only thing on this truck is it is lighter. So I did put 100 kilograms of ballast, and that is less than we ran last year. This truck also sits a little higher. So all the settings are basically otherwise the same. And I even set the differentials up exactly the same. If you want to use those exact settings I have, please do so. And we're setting, which I failed to mention on the Raptor, but I mentioned it earlier, we're setting these things up on the torque vectoring center differential 595. So basically a rear-wheel drive truck with a little bit of power to the fronts. It should not affect us as far as traction or anything like that at an oval high-speed race. So that's where we're at on the two Craftsman trucks. And I'm going to go back into the Raptor again just to show you those settings. And again, we're torque vectoring center differential is 595. And all these settings are as set close to the center except for our camber, which we've set at 0, and our toe at 0. We're trying to make sure we have as little rolling resistance on this vehicle as possible. So that is our initial settings, and we'll run practice tonight and see what happens with, next week we'll run practice on these and see what happens. So that gets me to the Cup car. Okay? Cup cars. There are 5 eligible models this year, 6 technically. The Mustang is technically the same model, but I went through the entire list of all the cars in the game, and these are the ones we could find that are front engine, rear drive, and we can put naturally aspirated V8s in them. Okay? I've mentioned before I'm going to start with the Crown because it's kind of the unique one of the vehicle of all of them, because we not only do we have a Crown Cup car, and you see the numbers on it, 516 and 2804, but we also have a Crown HSSR car that uses the stock V6 at 254 and 2,800 pounds. Okay, why is that significant? Why is the Crown different? Because last year when we created these Cup cars, I wanted to get as close to NASCAR as we could in the game by building our own cars. And unfortunately, there's no V8 drive Camry in existence in life. So this car, the Crown Athlete G, is the only rear-wheel drive car I could find in here that we could run with Toyota that really mimics a NASCAR Cup car Toyota. So, important thing right here on this Crown, right here. Engine swap. Okay? If you want to drive this car, it's going to be expensive. Okay? So, the Crown is not one of the cars I am requiring in the draft. Okay? It's the one exception in the Cup car draft. Okay? I'm not requiring it to be used. If nobody uses it, I will. Okay? So, I'm not requiring somebody to choose that car. Okay? So, just wanted to clarify that. So, the engine swap limits us on a lot of things, and I will go into that right now. So, you can see we've done our basic build on this car by going into the car maintenance. And if you see right here, this says engine swap installed. Okay? And it's the SC430 from the GT500 car in Japan that the engine swaps out of. So it's a racing engine. Okay? And that's what we're putting in it. That's the only one that'll work. Okay? The wide body is also required. Okay? That's all the same. The same. And in fact, the build, once you get...
Kevin.
Hey, what's going on, Graham? So, I'm good. I'm better, actually. Getting things ready for kicking things off this weekend. So, going back to what we're doing here, the Crown, again, it's the same build beside the engine swap, transmission, and brakes. Okay, same build for both the Cup car here and the Hisser car. So we install the wide body first, and do that first, because if you don't, you're going to have to go back and put everything else back on that you buy. So once we've installed the wide body, we go over to car customization, and again, just like the trucks, we have a spec wheel. And these are the BBS racing wheel here, okay? And these, I believe, are 18-inch is the wheel that we use for the Cup cars. 18-inch wide. Okay, I'm not going to change them again, but that's what we use. 18-inch wide, and that's what we have on the car. Okay, that is the spec wheel. So Craftsman trucks, 20-inch. Cup cars, 18-inch. Hissers, as close to 17 as you can get. And going through the hissers, there's only a handful of exceptions that you can't put 17-inch on. So if 17 is available, that's what you use on the hissers. Okay, and ignore the hisser logo on here. I use this car as a template for Makoto to make my hisser logo. So, all right, that is your basic build on the wide body, and then we add our custom parts. Front, we're going to add the splitter, side skirts, rear diffuser, and the wing, all the wings across the board, all the cars, medium 22 when it's available, or the equivalent on the hatchbacks. So custom medium 22. Again, there's less than a handful of exceptions where we don't get that option, and I've touched on those in the hisser car video. Now again, we're running race cars. We're going to be showing replays. I want to see hood pins on these cars, tow hooks. You can run either one you want. I'm not particular about that. Tow hooks, I prefer the Type B. If you're going to cry about it, you can use the Type A, but I want to see a tow hook on there. Whenever possible, I want a car with the roll cage in it and the full roll cage Type C. And I would say it's probably 75-25 cars you can put roll cages in and ones you can't, which is kind of odd. It's just, there's no real rhyme or reason for it. But
cry about it, LOL.
Exactly. Other parts, light bulbs. I always suggest putting the brightest bulbs in there. I use the joke super cool like me. License plate. I want to see the Type
my jokes.
A. You caught that, didn't you, Makoto? Type A rear only on these, and again, it's because of branding. If you look, I don't have it on this one because this is a Cup car, but we're going to eventually have license plates for you. License plates for y'all. So caliper color you can set after you've done your performance mods. And again, I'm not going to build a Cup car here. I'm going to build several hissers for you. But I'm not going to build a Cup car, but we're going to go through everyone's build, because everyone is pretty much the same with a few little caveats here and there. All right, so first thing we do, go across the board here, starting in sports. You're going to do weight reduction stage 1. Weight reduction stage 2, we're going to have power restrictor and ballast required on all cars, so just get it. All the cars, no matter what it is. Craftsman truck, Cup car, hisser, get our power restrictor and ballast. Fully customizable computer, fully customizable LSD, increased body rigidity, weight reduction stage, what is that? I can't even read it. Stage 3 on this car. Now, this car brings, and I'll go over the caveat here on this car, why I'm touching on this car first. Okay. This is your main difference between your hisser and your Cup cars. The power output and the transmissions, and then our brakes. Okay? The Cup cars require the ceramic brakes. Don't forget to get your pads. Okay, now I had bought the racing kit on this one as well. But you don't need this. You don't need these two for the Cup car. You do need these two for the hisser. So that is the main difference. Again, there's 3 things difference between the Crown Cup car and the Crown hisser. One is that big green highlighted area over here. 3UZF ESC430 engine swap. V8 V-type 8 cylinders. That's your first difference. Second difference is your brakes. You're going to use the carbon ceramic brake kit instead of the racing brake kit. Don't forget, you still need your pads with that. With either one of the kits, you still need to get pads. And then the Cup cars are going to have a fully customizable racing transmission, not the fully customizable manual that all the hissers have. Okay? So that is your build on the Crown. And we had to base the Cup cars around the Crown because as you look across the build sheet here, look across the top here as we go. NA, NA, NA. Okay? Racing crankshaft, NA. Nothing was available. And then we were keeping these cars naturally aspirated. None of this stuff available. Why? Because it's all included in the engine swap. Okay? As you can see, it's an 3UZ, which is a 4.3 liter But the displacement on our engine in the Cup car after the swap is a 4.5 liter. So it's already been bored out, already been stroked out, already has a racing crankshaft, already has all of the mods added in it already. Okay. The other thing is the SC430 engine is a little bit heavier. And you can see here under racing. Whoop, yeah. Wait, where is it? Semi-racing. Yeah, here we go. We don't have an option for a weight reduction stage 4. So this is the lowest we can go on the cup on the Crown. Right here. 2,804 pounds. And the max power we can get out of this engine is 516 horsepower. Now, as always, we do add our racing muffler, which I don't think is the one thing it doesn't come with. The air filter and exhaust manifold, all part of the engine swap. So again, the engine swap's expensive, but you don't have anything else you buy for it. So it's probably about $300,000, 300,000 credits more than your standard engine build if you had to add all that stuff. Okay, it's 500,000 credits for the engine swap. The car's only 65,000 credits, but the engine swap. So you're starting off with a 565,000 credit car.
It's a 1 mil car in total.
Yeah, by the time you build everything, because we add about 250,000, but in our tuning shop. So again, in the tuning shop, the things we add to this is the weight reductions, all three of them. Our fully customizable computer, fully customizable LSD, increased body rigidity, racing muffler.
I made a practice car, and now I drop
it. It's just credits, right? They just come dime a dozen. Actually, they don't even cost anything. You just got to work for them. Racing brake pads, and again, don't put the racing brake kit on this one. We put the carbon ceramic brake kit. So, again, all of the Cup car builds are the same as far as the body of the race car goes. The engines change things, and depending on the model, we're gonna be setting specific parameters for the cars based on how they compete. All right, so back to settings. So again, to try to BOP these things.
Please check your Instagram message. No hurry.
Yeah, I gotcha. So again, I'm setting these cars.
I don't have much. Just 80.
Yeah, 80 million credit. You could build.
S3 owner racing close to bankruptcy.
Yeah, yeah, really, yeah. I got 15 and I got more than enough. So I think you're fine, Mr. Moneybags. So again, I set this car here for a Daytona 5 off the bump stop, and then put everything else. We should have everything else in the center. I moved, or maybe I never set this one because I set one of the liveried cars. But we're going to set everything in the center on the bump stop, or at the center mark on all the settings on these cars for Daytona here.
How did you get 80 millions?
Just kept going, man. Just kept driving. Again, we're going to zero out our toe.
I work for it. Hacker LOL.
And then we're going to zero out, because we're at Daytona, we're going to zero out our camber. So,
imagine aha.
Body height, let's start 5 above the bump stops. Because there are some bumps at Daytona, so we don't want to throw the cars completely off. 5 above the bump stops. Anti-roll bars, you can go between 5 and 6. Again, there's no actual center setting. You can set your differentials how you want. Not going to be using really much of anything here at Daytona. We'll set the arrow on these vehicles, and what I'm thinking to do to try to balance these things out is we'll set them all to the center. So initially I thought, well, we'll try to get them all in the same, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to set them all to the center. And we might adjust that after our first practices. But again, the crown, we're going to base all the adjustments we make, because this is the least adjustable car. We're going to be setting all of our adjustments based on the maxes on this car. Buddy, hang on, sorry guys, my dog's smelling. Buddy. He's deaf, by the way. Buddy the dog. Get out of there. All right, there he ran away. He's smelling the garbage. I'm just waiting for him to just reach his foot up in there and knock it over. Okay, so again, I spent a lot of time on this crown because it's very unique, and we had to base our racing series around how we could build this car. Okay, so again, if nobody uses it next week, I will use the crown store. There will be at least one crown, so we won't have to worry about somebody trying to build one that doesn't have one, and we'll go from there. So again, we're going to do the draft next week. I'm going to allow, let's see, what we're going to have. If we have like, I want to see at least one of each car. So until one of each car is chosen, you're going to have a choice. I guess it could come down to, yeah, so the person before me would have to choose if the Camaro or the Crown haven't been taken yet, because Steve's going to get the Camaro. I've already told him that because he was the champion and he helped develop these cars. He got to choose the Camaro. That his choice is already done. But if we don't have one of the cars for the person before me, they're going to have to choose that car we don't have yet. If somebody else has taken the Crown, I'll choose the car we haven't done. But I'm going to help balance things out. I'm second to last, technically last, because Steve already took his choice. That's his one bonus I gave him for the championship. Besides the trophy and that he got. So, all right. So again, we're going to be consistent across the board on these. Let's zero everything out. Everything else is going to go in the middle. 5 off the bump stops. Okay, you can adjust your roll bar how you want, and then center on the arrow. Okay, so let's try that. That's 1. Now we're going to go into our BMW. That's the M3. And you can see all the things we added. Again, it's the same basic build. Borup, stroke up, engine valance tuning, polish ports, racing crankshaft, high compression piston. This is the one car you're going to have to be able... You're going to have to be at least...
Champion, LOL.
Yes, sir. This is the one car you're going to have to go into the extreme category and a build. So, someone wants to build a Beamer, let me know, okay? Again, we're going to be 5 off the bump stops on these. I'm going to set all the prototypes I'm going to set at 6. I think these are all where they're supposed to be. We're going to zero out our camber because we're going to be on the high bank. And again, we're going to set our downforce in the middle. .95 on the rear. Again, if we start having problems with these the way they drive, we will go to full downforce on all the cars and see how that works. But we're going to run a couple of nights of practice next week to try to get this one right. We're not going to spend too much time on the Craftsman trucks. We're going to spend some time on these Cup cars practicing. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm doing a practice lobby this evening, and I'm not going to do it later like I usually do. I'm going to do it this evening probably, and just keep it open so people can come in and race, and we can flip. We can run some races, or we can run some raw practice, run some practice races, and see how things work out. We'll start making our adjustments if we need to on our settings. So, all right. So this is our BMW. This is everything balanced out. I am going to go through the cosmetic build on this. They're all pretty much the same, but I want people to make sure that they get the wide body first. I keep beating that dead horse. Wide body, wide body, wide body. Wide body is first, always. Otherwise, you're going to be doing it again later. So, car customization, wheel, spec wheel. And remember, we're on the BBS racing wheel, and it is 18 wide. Okay? Not going to change it again. I'm not going to change it on this one because then it's got to reload the car. Custom parts, front is type A. Side is type A, rear is type A, and wing, as always, medium 22. Add your hood pins, add your tow hook B, add your license A, rear only, and then your lights you can do what you want with. And let's see, actually there wasn't anything else, I don't think, specific on this car. We did that. Racing item, hood bins, tow hook. Roll cage we were able to add. Don't forget your roll cage. Because then again, it's roll cage type C. And you can see that's a full roll cage in these race cars. Light bulbs, license plate, and then caliper color you can do as you wish. I usually leave the, unless I've got some theme on the car color-wise, I usually leave the default red on there. And then license plate type A rear only, which I didn't have on here. So I'm glad I actually, this is my second one of these I built, so. So type A rear only, and again, that's for branding. Once we get a logo for the Cup cars, we're gonna Cup car, race car. We're gonna make that, have to have that on the car somewhere. So we're gonna do that. This one again, I don't have livery on here. Again, I'd like to do liveries for these, but we're not gonna have that ready for this first event here, the first two events of the season. So we'll be adding that stuff in over the course of the year. I'm also willing to help, and Steve has also put forth he would be willing to help if you guys want to make up us to help you make liveries. I've got all my logos stored. I don't have a Cup car logo yet, so feel free to do what you want with the Cup cars this weekend. Okay? All right, so that is our BMW.
To help too if need.
Yes, Makoto said he'll help as well. I really enjoy doing liveries, and they're relaxing to me. It just gets my mind. I have a really, really fast mind that turns all the time and is always rolling. So this focuses on it, doing this. So just
Same.
you're not putting me out. You're not putting me out, and I can put a livery together literally. If you want some basic stuff on there, I can put a livery together in 25 minutes. A decent looking full-on livery all the way around if you're not looking for too much on there. Again, if you want to get extravagant, you know, I'll give you a base livery and then you can let me know what you want from there. We can adjust it. But again, pretty basic liveries. If you want a basic livery with my basic logos and stuff on it, for the hissers, if you want the hisser logo and the HECS logo and all that on the cars, we can easily get that for you. So that's no problem at all. Weight reduction stage 1 on this car. Weight reduction stage 2, of course, our power restrictor and ballast. Weight reduction stage 3, increased body rigidity, fully customizable LSD, fully customizable computer.
Marco, can you make a decal that each driver can put on the car for winning a race?
Ooh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Just like an H with a flag on it or something. That would be cool. Yeah, that would be really cool. Like an H with a flag, or like an H that is a flag.
Yeah, let's talk about
Yeah, let's talk about that. I'll see. We can use my logo, and then we'll add one of those one of my flag things that's easy to do. My checkered flag. All right, so racing air filter muffler exhaust on all the cars, racing brake pads on all the cars. Don't forget, this is a Cup car, so we're going to go carbon ceramic brake kit. Okay, carbon ceramic brakes, and again, everything is the same on all the other cars down here. Brake balance controller, fully customizable suspension, racing clutch, and flywheel. Cup cars get a fully customizable racing transmission. Of course, we need tires. We need tires. Okay, you're going to have mediums minimum. I would suggest getting soft in case you want to do that thing with the fast lap where you can try to switch tires, but every race will be spec'd to medium tires. Carbon ceramic, actually this one did not require. So engine mods on this one. This one we can add engine mods, so we bored it up to get a little bit more displacement. Everything I did on the engine mods was to try to get more torque. Okay, so anything that didn't do that, like the high lift camshaft, doesn't do anything to the torque, so I didn't add that in there. It's a minimal.
I kinda wanna talk to you about something related for your series. IG or PSN?
So Steve, Makoto wants to talk to you about something on your series, your series. So he's asking if you want to talk on Instagram or on PlayStation Network. Makoto, I can probably answer that for you. I would probably, if you guys aren't connected on Facebook, I'd probably talk to him just send him a direct message on the PSN app, just because I don't I don't know if Steve's even on Instagram, but I know he's on Facebook. So we talk on Messenger quite a bit, Meta Messenger. So Facebook, Instagram, Messenger. Bore up on this one. Again, high compression pistons,
Is fine.
racing crankshaft, stroke up, engine balance tuning, and polished ports. So we're fully decking this engine out. It's a really...
It is then. X3.
Yep, he's going to get you on PSN, Steve. All right, guys. So that is our M3 Cup car. Full details. Settings I went over, but I'm going to hit them again just real quick just to get a refresher for everybody.
Yes, I am, but barely use it.
So there's the settings. There's our spec settings. Okay, so just screenshot that. Get that car to that number if you want to run that one. Again, the downforce, we set everything right in the middle tentatively. We may change that come race time. Now the Camaro is the next car up on our Cup cars. And this has tended to be the strongest car. So it's barely getting under that 717 PP spec. Or 716, I'm sorry. So this is the Camaro setting. There's no engine mods, just a bunch of weight reduction, increased body rigidity, and then settings 105. Again, I'm setting all of these the same. These are in the middle, these are in the middle, these are in the middle. Zero out our camber for Daytona, and then our toe angles are at 0. You can do what you want with the diff gear. Again, aero, we're going to stick these in all these cars in the middle to start with to test. So I'm going to put that spec up. And I'm going to change these settings when we first go into the car. Yes, I know. So for right now, we're at 50 on the ballast. And again, because of the limits with the crown, I don't want to get too much away from our main goal on these cars, which was 500 horse, 2,800 pounds, and so on. But 50 on the ballast on this one right now gets you 2,837 pounds. The power restrictor we're going to set at 97. There's no engine mods on this car, except our standard bolt-on stuff, which is our spec stuff. Air filter, muffler, exhaust. Power restrictor, again, 500. I don't really want to go below 500 on these cars. Okay? The Camaro and the Crown are fairly competitive where they're set right now with each other. So we're going to be working the other cars up around that. Now, the Camaro next to the Crown is going to be faster than it. But the Crown has an advantage with fuel economy, and then we'll go into that. But right now, this is the settings for the Camaro to start with at Daytona. Okay? Again, no engine mods on this car. Our Crown is fully decked out, so we're going to work around that with the other cars. All right, so I went through the settings initially. We'll come back and review them, so you can do a screenshot if you want, if you didn't get one before. Same build as all the other Cup cars for the same basic race car body. We're going to go in here and do everything the game allows us to do, maximum to the max. We're making these things as close to a real race car as we can. There's our wide body install. And then our wheels, which is the BBS racing wheel. That's our spec wheel. And again, it is 18-inch wide. Okay, again, Craftsman Trucks 20-inch, Cup cars 18-inch, hissers as close to 17 as you can get. If 17 is available, that's what I expect. All right, very simple. I'm not going to install these again because I'm not going to rebuild this whole car. But once we've gotten our wheels done, again, 18-inch wide, we're going to go front bumper splitter type, side skirts as low as we can, type A, rear bumper diffuser, and the wing, the same medium 22 wing that's on every other HSSR or HECS spec car. And that is the Cup cars, the Hisser cars, and will be the same on the Super Cup cars. And the reason I chose that medium 22 is because it kind of has everything. It's kind of flat, got an angle, it's curved, it's got the kick out in it. So it's a little bit everything all in the same wing. That's why I chose that wing. And it's easy to remember 22 over 23. It's easier to remember it's just two twos. So racing items, again, expect to see some hood pins either way you want to go. Tow hook, I want to see Type B. Again, if you're going to cry about it, you can run Type A, but I would prefer Type B. It just looks more professional when they're all the same. And for some god unknown reason, we can't put a roll cage in this car. Maybe because it's already hard enough to see out of. I don't know. Other parts, light bulbs, I always suggest getting the highest one. The license plate Type A rear only, and again, that's for branding in the future. And then caliper color, we tied in the red with the red on the interior on this one. Performance-wise, same exact across-the-board build as all the other cars in our tuning shop. No engine mods on this one. We do weight reduction stage 1, weight reduction stage 2. We always need our power restrictor and ballast. We need our fully customizable computer. Again, we're putting our controls on.
Asterisk start sobbing uncontrollably.
These guys always give me a hard because I'm so anal about this, but I want everything to be so matched. And the only way to do it is to beat that into people and say, look, I don't care if it meets the spec. This is what I want on it. Everything has to be on it. I had people come in, oh yeah, I got a car that I can do that. No, but it's got to be the same. The reason these are BOP where they're at is because we've added all the stuff. All the stuff is the same. So, fully customizable computer. Again, the way to think about this, we're putting the sanctioning body has contracted with a computer manufacturer and injection manufacturer. And we're giving you the injection plate and we're giving you the computer control at the racetrack from a random list of them that is all the same for all the cars. Okay? And then this one, we set the power restrictor based on our specs. So that's the way to look at the fully customizable computer. We're going to run that across the board. That is our computer and our fuel controls. Okay, our ignition and our fuel controls. Across the board, we're handing it out to the drivers when they get there.
Wheel is smoking hot on this car too.
I know, he's just giving me shit for my specs. But again, trying to keep these cars equal, we're going to have the same spec. Fully customizable LSD. Increased body rigidity, weight reduction stage 3. Okay, so now standard parts again. We're going to a manufacturer, say, I need you to make me an air filter that is the same, that will work the same for all 4 cars. So we're getting an air intake going into our computer management system with the same exact air filter on it for every car. Muffler, same thing. We've got the same exhaust going back on the car, same length, made by the same manufacturer to the same exact muffler. Exhaust manifolds, again, same design, designed to be spec, and they're stamped by the manufacturer.
The air filter. I wanna buy an HKS one frowning face.
Well, it's our HKS is our supplier, so you're in luck. HKS supplies our air filters and our exhaust, and Greddy supplies our headers and our engine control systems. Because that's what they make. Actually, I think AEM isn't the partner AEM in here for the control management.
You said I want you to make me an air filter.
Oh well, I was saying that's what we went to. That's what we went to the manufacturer and said, I want you to make me an air filter that is the same for all of our cars, and that's K&N. See if he catches that, because I told him it was HKS already. So likely,
understand now.
Likely though, the air filter they'll actually looking at is probably a K&N. The muffler looking at it is probably actually an HKS, and then the manifolds. Greddy is known for making really good manifolds. The computer management system, I would.
This is my sponsor. I will put one in my car anyway.
You're gonna be disqualified. So this might be AEM or somebody, Haltech or somebody that actually, I'm not sure. Sometimes you can see the sponsors in in the screens. They don't really put them up here. They do Brembo because Brembo pays money to be in there. But these other ones, I think they're just partnered and they use their parts and whatnot. So anyway, there is your spec parts. Don't forget your brake balance controller, fully customizable suspension, and racing clutch and flywheel, fully customizable racing transmission here on the Cup cars, and your carbon ceramic brake kit. So again, you don't get this one. No, that's no. But you do need brake pads. With all the kits, you got to buy separate pads. So just so you can all remember that. All right, so that is your Camaro. Don't forget to get your tires, medium, as always, spec. I'll keep saying it. And then again, we're going to go back to the garage, and I'm just going to give you a quick opportunity to screenshot. These are our BOP and our required settings for next weekend. At least our first night. We don't change anything. There's your race Camaro settings. Ooh, pardon me.
Does the car have its periods?
Yes, I think it does. All right, so this car people probably won't use. If someone wants to run the Mustang GT, I'm going to give you whatever advantage I can because I really would like to develop this car into making it work. So going into the settings here, you can see this car has a lot of things done. Bore up, polish ports, racing crankshaft, all of the weight reductions. We're running it at 5 ballast to get the weight we've got right now. If I take that away, it's like 2740. We could do that. Right now I just did this just to get a little bit more weight on the back by putting the ballast position to the rear. Everything else is I think these are set already at the middle, and then we should be, I went to 5 off the bump stops because we ran these actually at a road course. So we're gonna make sure all this stuff is the center. That's all the center. Whoops, wrong button. All right, so we're going to zero these out for Daytona. 0. 0. We don't want any drag on the wheels that we can do, so we're going to get this thing tracking as straight as we can and with these tires as flat as we can on the track. So there is your settings for your Mustang on medium tires. Gives you a 692.03. I think this car would be okay in the draft. I don't know if it would lead very well. Okay. But we are allowing, as you look over there, 530 horsepower, the most horsepower on this Mustang GT at this point. 2,751 on the weight, so that's what I would end up setting the room at if anybody's running a Mustang. Otherwise, it'll be set at 2,804 pounds. Or let me check what the GT350R is. So that handles our Mustang. Again, the two builds on the cars are identical. This one here, again, yeah, we got this one at 533 and 2776. So yeah, there would be some weight on that Mustang. So okay, so you can see this car, I've put a racing crankshaft in this one. That gets us up to the 533 horsepower, but gets us up over that, and then we've reduced it down to get 533 horse. I may move this as high as 550, but I really don't want to go above that, okay? We're going to start here and see how this works at Daytona. Again, we're going to go middle on the... Well, this is more than the GT has on max. So... Alright, set this at 5 over the bump stops. Set this at 6, set this at 6, set all of these in the middle. Zero out our camber. Our toe is zeroed out. And I've got all these cars have been setting at 300 on the restrictor. So if you want to run a Ford, this would be the one I would suggest running. Again, we're going to try to develop this, but this is pretty much where it's going to be for right now. This is the same basic build as all of the other cars. We're going to go into GT Auto. We're going to go to our car maintenance service, and we are going to do the wide body first. Okay? You can see we've already installed that. So, next thing is our spec tire. Our spec wheel. Oh, gosh, I gotta stop saying it like that. Spec tire is medium. Spec wheel is going to be the BBS wheel, and it's going to be 19-inch on this one because we can't go 18-inch wide, and then this one doesn't allow wide because So this is a little bit different than the other ones. It's going to be 19-inch on this one. And we may adjust the other ones up to 19-inch, but for now, we're just going to leave this one as kind of an enigma. Custom parts, front bumper, splitter, side skirts, low. These bumpers all have an integrated diffuser, so you won't have that option on them. Custom wing set, medium 22. Racing items, we need to see some hood pins, tow hook, and the roll cage. This car you can put a roll cage in, Type C. Full roll cage, by the way. Light bulb, you want the brightest as you can get. Type A rear only on the license plate, please. And then the caliper color you can set as you wish. That is the build on the cosmetic parts of the GT350R. Basically the same exact build as the Mustang. The Mustang GT, though, you can put 18-inch wide wheels on there. So we're going to need weight reduction stage 1, weight reduction stage 2, power restrictor and ballast. Fully customizable LSD, increased body rigidity, and weight reduction stage 3. Ignore that fully customizable manual transmission. Racing air filter, muffler, and exhaust manifold. Racing brake pads. And then our carbon ceramic brake kit, not the slotted or drilled. Racing clutch and flywheel, fully customizable suspension. Brake balance controller, fully customizable racing transmission. That's why we ignore the manual one. I made an error when I built these. That's why I couldn't get these cars to balance out. It took me forever to figure it out. So racing medium tires are required. You won't need softs for this weekend, but I would just go ahead and buy them while you're in here, in case we go road racing with this thing, which we will once this year at least go road racing with the Cup cars. And again, you'll have that chance where you can get that fast lap bonus if you have a problem. So get those soft tires just in case. And then again, back to the settings on the GT350R here. This is where I want to see it for now. This will be going into practice next week. Again, 88 on the power restrictor, 33 on the ballast on this one. I don't really want to give any more power on this thing if I don't have to. I will drop some of the weight if we need to. Because I'm giving the Mustang GT 2,740 pounds or whatever it is. We can do the same for this car if we need to. I don't know if we're going to need to. I'm trying to find something in the middle here. Hopefully this will run pretty good at Daytona. And again, we're going to have the draft, so be prepared to drive. We're going to have at least one of these cars in the field. If not two. We will get them balanced out, though. I can assure you that. Oop, did I go back in the settings here for you? There again, there's a screenshot for you. If you want to take a screenshot, that is your settings for the GT350R. Shelby Mustang. All right, down to our last and one of our new additions for this year, the Lexus RCF. Didn't you just use this by default last year because I wanted a Toyota in the field, so we've managed to have 5 cars. And I'm going to go on the settings here. Again, this is Daytona, so we're going to change things up just a little bit. We're going to be 5 off the bump stops. We're going to go 6 on the roll bar. Middle of the road on all of these. We're going to 0 out our caster and negative camber. 0 on the toe angle. You can set these how you wish. We're going to put our arrow in the middle. Again, we may switch this, depending on how things work, we may just switch this to max on the cars. Before things are over, we may find a number. I'm leaving it in the middle because I want to make sure that the cars are stable. We could go full downforce on all the cars, or we may go no downforce on all the cars. We'll see how that works. So this car needs 45 kilograms of ballast. We can put that to the back, and that does fix our PP issue there. 92 on the restrictor gives us 517. This is the 2UR GSE V8. This is a little bit different engine. This is the larger engine. As you can see, it has a displacement of 5,092 or 5.1 liters here in racing trim. And because we've allowed the high compression pistons and the bore up. So 300 there, and we'll go through the build process on this car. This is a pretty basic looking, you know, kind of looks like a Cup car already type thing. So don't forget about our wide body here. Again, no engine swap on this car as opposed to the Crown. This car is a V8 car from the factory as the RCF. Wheel, again, same wheels that we had on the others. It's going to be the 19-inch. So okay. So this brings up a conundrum here. These two new cars that we've added in since we first did the initial 3 Cup cars all have issues, it seems like, with the wheels. The GT350R, the RCF, and the BMW. Actually, I think the BMW we were able to put the 18-inch on there. So get as close to 18-inch just like the Crown cars as possible. If 18 inches is available, that's the requirement. If not, then you can use the smallest one possible. But we still need wide. If available, the GT350R did not have the wide offset available. Okay, simple enough. That's another reason I want to go through all of these, is I find these little bitty glitches that I didn't realize I had. The Type B splitter, yeah, this one's probably more aggressive. Let's use that one. The side skirts, you could probably use either one. I'm not going to be a stickler on that. The rear diffuser, though, we definitely need the diffuser style bumper, so we need that one, Type B. And then the wing, as always, medium 22. Whoops, went a little too far there, hang on. One too many circles. Alright, so racing items, we need a hood pin. Again, either one you want to run. Tow hook. Want to see Type B. Again, if you're going to whine about it, you can use Type A. Another car we can't put a roll cage in, and inexplicably, because it's already in the game with a roll cage as a Group 4 and a Group 3 race car. So, makes no sense, but I digress. This game doesn't always make sense. Again, why we're having to spend so much time on our own BOP is because of the way the thing is designed. So, super cool lights, just like me. If you want, you can run whatever you want. Type A rear only on the license plate, and the reason is, again, branding. That's going to be in the future. Caliper color, whatever you want. I put red on this by default. So, on to the tuning shop. And we're almost done here with the Cup cars. And I'm being very thorough on this so that you guys can have multiple areas where you can find these cars and build them and find any information you need. Okay, weight reduction stage 1. Weight reduction stage 2. Don't forget your power restrictor and ballast. Fully customizable computer, fully customizable LSD, increased body rigidity, and weight reduction stage 3. Again, we ignore the fully customizable manual transmission here. We're going to get our racing air filter, muffler, exhaust, and brake pads, and then we're going to get our brake kit. Just do it right away so you don't forget when you get your brake pads. You're going to have the racing clutch and flywheel, fully customizable suspension, brake balance controller, and then our fully customizable racing transmission, which is required on the Cup cars. And then your racing tires, I buy all of them. You only need the mediums, but you could get the softs for the next race if you want. Again, medium is our spec tire across the board and all series. So, that is your build on your 5, technically 6 different models of Cup car race cars. And I'll go give you a chance to screenshot this again for the RCF. There's your settings, and that's what we'll start with. Again, downforce is probably going to be the only thing we'll adjust on all the cars, but we may start adjusting power and weight on this car, the Camaro, and the Mustang, and the BMW. Alright, so there is your Cup car build. Now that we've gotten that done, we've gone through the HECS basics for the year, what the HECS is about. We've touched on all of the schedule. We've gone over what we're doing this weekend, what we're doing next weekend. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth here on the HECS cars. And again, those are the second class of cars we're going to be running this weekend. So let's go and build one first, okay? And then we'll get back to our little glitch here, okay? I've got one that's almost already built because somebody had asked me about this '09 TTS Coupe. So I've got this car with everything on it, but I ran it in the challenges last night because there was a TT challenge. So I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and build the car. Everything but the wide body because I didn't think it'd let me put the wide body in there. So we started off with the TTS Coupe '09, which came out of Brand Central. And it was also in the used cars for a while, but it's basically under Audi, and then you just go... And all three of these cars, I'm going to build this one, and I'm also going to build the other one. You can buy all three of these cars in Grand Central. These are the three that are eligible for HECS. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to build this one fully complete as well while we're on this video yet, but we're going to finish this one right now because I never did yesterday after I ran my challenges. So after I signed off last night, I realized I hadn't run my laps at Le Mans, and I had went out and bought the Veyron Group 4, so I needed to make my money. So you can see right here that I ran my liveried Veyron Group 4 up there. So that's what I did afterwards. I did some challenges in different cars. Ran the
I really
308.
like the time attack this week X3.
Boy, that was a tough one, man. I was like so happy. I hit a 425.8, and I was like, oh my god, that's got to be into gold. And I pulled it because I didn't look before because there was only like an hour and a half left when I started, and I ran a couple of laps and messed up, hit the things, and then I got it, and so I started again, and I ran 10 laps, and I went out and looked, and I'm like, no, I ran a 427 something, and I thought, oh, that's got to be in the silver. And I went out there, and I'm like, what? It was in the bronze. And I was like, oh, crap. So I went in there, and I'm like, man, how much time's left? And I looked, and there was 29 minutes left, so I jumped in there, and I went for it.
26 minutes and 779 seconds, just bronze, such a pain X3.
Yeah, that's because the gold was so fast. He was 6 seconds above the fastest on my friends list, and I have some really fast people on my friends list. And the person in the world that was the fastest was a 414 or something like that. Was a 414 or a 410? No, 414. Because when I first said it, I said, that's 13 seconds different than my time. I said, 13? Where is he getting 13 seconds? I'm at the edge as it is. And we're running the same car. So I went back in there and buckled down, and I managed to run a 425.8, I think it was. And I was ecstatic I got into silver. I really was. And then the next lap, the thing shut down on me. So I barely got that in because I had a purple lap going the next lap. But it shut down on me, so that I timed it out and got my credits and everything last night. So then I did challenges because I had slept so much yesterday. I was wide awake in the middle of the night.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, I know that was a hell of a time, that original time, because I think the next fastest was like a second and a half off of them. Whoever, I don't know how the hell they ran that fast. But anyway, that's why this is a hobby, not my job, right? All right, so what we haven't done on this one, this TTS Coupe, this is '09. This is the newest one to the game, and it looks really good in this form too, because I did all the other stuff. So we're going to add the wide body. And this is the first step in our HECS cars. So there's the wide body on it. All right, now we got to go fix our wheels and tires because they're going to be at the base width. So we go into car customization again. You can run whatever you want. I've got a specific wheel on there which I thought looked good on it. This one here. And we're going to run that 17-inch wide. Again, that's the spec for the HSSR, and that looks really freaking good. I like a lot of meaty tire on something like this that sits wide, so that looks really good. So this car looks really good, and I'll go through the cosmetic stuff I put on it because you can use, there's a lot of options on this one. The front you can run either type A or B, and we're going to run the splitter, type B. Okay, side skirts, you can run either one of these. I'm going to use this one because it's less. And then this one has two different options here. We're going to run the type A, which is the splitter diffuser style rear bumper. Now, wing, again, custom wing, medium 22. 22 right there. That's our wing. Surprisingly, allow us to use it on a hatchback. So that is your basic cosmetic setup. Then we're going to add our hood pins, which I had on here, as you can see. You can run either one. Tow hook, type B. Roll cage, full set. Oh, it did leave that on. Okay. Light bulbs. Again, I had put this on there last night, but we're adding it in, type A rear only. That gives us a nice clean bar up front there. And then I used this. I thought this one looked cool. You can use whatever you want, but I thought this one looked cool on there for a race car. Caliper color, left the default red on there. And pretty good looking race car in this TTS setup 09, the 09 version. I think it's better looking than the newer one, in my opinion. But everybody has their own opinion. So there's that one. Sorry guys, taking a drink here. Okay. Now that we've done that, we've got our I've already purchased all the performance mods, but we'll go. I'm actually going to do this real quick. I'm going to save a style here so I can create a livery from it, and we're just going to call this HSSR HISR spec. Okay. Just easy because I got that predetermined in there. It's easy to find, easy to do. I only have to type letter H. Okay, so now we got our race car built. We've got our mods on it. So now we're going to go in and just show you what the mods are. Again, weight reduction stage 1. Weight reduction stage 2, power restrictor and ballast. Fully customizable computer, LSD manual transmission, and increased body rigidity. Every single HISR car has these 4 things in it. So make sure these 4 things should be across the board. Computer, LSD, manual transmission, and increased body rigidity. Every single one has it. Same thing with the racing air filter, muffler, and exhaust. Racing brake pads. Every single one has it. Everyone has the racing brake kit. Everyone has the racing clutch and flywheel, fully customizable suspension, and brake balance controller. They're all the same. This one being all-wheel drive adds the torque vectoring center differential, and being turbo adds racing intercooler. Okay? And you can grab your tires. You don't have to get hard tires. I'm buying them on all these because they're prototypes. Medium tires are required, so buy those for sure. If you want to try to get a point advantage sometime, buy the softs. They're not that expensive. There's nothing in the Extreme and Ultimate on almost all of the HSSR cars. There's always exceptions, but there's nothing across the Extreme and Ultimate in the HISR cars. So, now that we've done that, we're going to go set this car up, because you can see right now the spec for the HISR cars is 616 max performance points, and we are over that. We are over the horsepower and under the weight. So, we're going to go into settings, and what we're going to do, we're going to make sure our tires are set, and what I'm always doing here is setting this the same way. HSSR HISR spec. Just to set our prototype. Again, I've set all of these at 10 above the bump stops. And setting these at 6 or 5, we're setting the damping ratios all in the middle. The frequency in the middle. The camber angles we've been doing right at 3 for spec. I changed that. Initially I'd done those at 2.2, so if you're confused, we've changed that. We're just putting everything in the middle right now. Now, the top speed on all the hissers, I've just been setting at 250, just because it coincides with our 250 horsepower. It's kind of a derivative of it. Now, this one, power restrictor, very important on this one. This is a pretty high power car right now, so we're going to max it out and see where we're at. 231. Okay, so we don't have to max it out. So let's guess. Let's go to 80. See where that gets us. 265. That's still a little much. Let's go to 77. 254. Okay, 77 on the restrictor. Our ballast. We're going to set this one. Let's just take a guess and go about 60. 2720. We're still a little light. Let's go to 70. 2743. We're probably going to have to go up to like 85 on this one, I would guess. Oh, even higher than that. $96 on the ballast. And again, this is a fairly well-balanced car, so we can move some of the weight. Let's just go in the middle here and see what that does for us. That gets us... Oh, actually, you know what? I'm wrong. We want to put weight to the back. We're going to max this to the back. Okay, that gives us a better weight split. There we go. Okay, now, like I said, the downforce we've been setting kind of in the middle up here. So we're about where we need to be there on this one. So I think that's where we'll leave this as our hisser spec on the TT Coupe 09. All right, so since we just did that one, I'm going to do a full build on one, and this will be this one here. This is the original TT 3.2 Quattro. Now this one is the VR6, so this has the narrow angle V6, 3.2 liter. And this one is actually, I believe this one's naturally aspirated, so yes it is. So, again, if you're building a hisser, the first step is the wide body edition and setting your tires and cosmetic stuff. So wide body, 25,000 on this one. So there's that. So notice that we were at 15,315. And I bought this car last night. I think it was 45,000, if I remember right. It might have been more than that, but at this point, we got 315,000 over the 15 million. So we just spent 25 of that. We're going to go to car customization. We'll try to keep the theme on those wheels. I think I got a wheel that we can keep that theme on the wheels, but we're going to go... what do we got? We got like a... I thought there was like a 6-spoke on this thing, maybe. Where's the one I was thinking of I thought would look good on this one? If I can't figure out one I like, I'll either... Yeah, that one looks pretty good. Let's use that. That's the NK. This is a nice looking wheel. And again, 17-inch, wide. Okay? So there's our stance on our 03 TT Quattro. Again, all these TTs are all-wheel drive. So custom parts front end, we're going to add our splitter, our side skirts. This one I think already has a rear bumper on it that has the striations in it. For the diffuser, for the wing, we're going to go custom wing set, medium, and again, 22 is the spec one, just because it has a little bit of everything. And if you look at it, it's got a kind of a flat spot in the front. It's got a curve. It's got a pitch. It's got a triangle. It's got a little bit of everything, so that's why we use this one. And 22 is easier to remember because it's 2 twos. Hood pins, I like these style, but you can put whatever you want on it. A tow hook type B. Unless you're going to whine about it again. And again, another car we can't put a roll cage in, so we won't. Light bulbs, we want to make them super cool just like me. You can do whatever you want again on that, on the light bulbs. Again, A only because we're going to put hisser logos on the license plates. So we'll get to that. A lot of the cars that I go over have those. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time when I go through these cars because, again, all the builds are the same. Okay, and you'll see when we go in here right now into the Performance Center that everything I'm adding to these cars is exactly the same. The only thing that varies is your weight reductions and such. Some cars won't need a weight reduction. This one definitely does. This is a porker For a little car, 3,351 pounds is a lot. We're going to get weight reduction stage 2. That gets us where we need to be, but we're going to need our power restrictor and ballast to balance that back out. Our ballast to add weight. We're not quite at the horsepower numbers here yet, but we're going to add our fully customizable computer. Again, think of this as what we do as a sanctioning body. You can see the numbers on there on the readout. This allows us to set this thing, and these things are sealed, just like what you're going to get in a normal racing series. So, fully customizable LSD, fully customizable manual. Again, all hissers require these 4 things, and I will beat that to a dead horse. Computer, LSD, manual transmission, and increased body rigidity in this screen. Racing screen. This is a naturally aspirated car, so we're going to have racing air filter, muffler, and exhaust. Every hisser has those items and brake pads, okay? And brake kit. Brake balance controller. Fully customizable suspension. Racing clutch and flywheel. And medium tires, okay? So why am I stopping right there? Okay. This is where an all-wheel drive car is different. Torque vectoring center differential. If this thing was a turbo, we would also be adding the racing intercooler. So that is your build on your coupe, your TT Coupe 3.2. The old VR6 engine. Good. That was a good engine. That's a Volkswagen engine I would own. Unfortunately, everything else on Volkswagen Audis is difficult. So I'm going to put on these tires. I'm buying these tires just because, again, these are prototypes and I want to make sure I have everything. We don't use anything in the Extreme or Ultimate except for a very few...
Just got gold on the new time attack.
Nice. Nice. Well, we'll see who gets on it because it just came up last night. Okay, so just a review real quick. Weight reduction stage 1, weight reduction stage 2, power restrictor, ballast, fully customizable computer, LSD, manual transmission, and increased body rigidity. Racing air filter, muffler, exhaust, brake pads, and kit. And again, you can use either one. You don't have to buy both if you don't want to. Torque vectoring center differential on this one. Racing clutch and flywheel, fully customizable suspension, brake balance controller. And your tires. So now we're going to go set her up. And this one's probably going to get hurt a little bit because I've got it, well, I got it on hard tires right now. So we're going to set the spec up here. Again, edit name, H, hisser spec. We're going to set these on medium tires. Again, that is the spec tire for the entire HECS. We're going to set these at 10 over the bump stops. We're going to set this... You can do 5 or 6 on those, it doesn't matter. But then everything else in the middle... I've been zeroing these out to the center. And again, you can adjust the differential how you wish, your torque vectoring center differential down there. We're going to put the arrow right about the middle if we can.
Did you set up a Nissan 400R for HSSR by chance?
Doesn't make it won't make it. I already did like a prelim. The power is just way too much on it. The max on the power for a hisser car to start off with is probably around 350. That's about the max we can reduce when we add all the other stuff in. So yeah, the 400R in this one, but we're going to build a R33 because I have one in here. So we're going to build an R33 on here as well. I'm going to do 90 on this one. Okay, so 606. This is one of those, and I've mentioned this before. It's going to be really close when we add the ballast. Let's see what it does with the ballast. 2756. 778.
Crap, okay.
2790. That's going to be about 54. Yep, 54 on the ballast. Again, we can shove this to the back. That's going to increase our PP. Okay. So this is one of those cars. Now we've got it set here. This is set up to our base spec. All right. Again, if you want to remember what we did, just weight reduction stage 1 and 2. Otherwise, all the other bolt-on parts. Now look at the PP level on this car right here. And this is why I'm building several cars today for everybody. I want to show everybody this. 60476. Now what can I do? Why is that important? This is why it's important right here. 61424. It comes under our limit where you can run it with soft tires if you need that 1 point advantage. If you're a driver that pushes the limit and runs off a lot and has issues, I wouldn't recommend you getting in one of the cars that can only run medium tires. I'd get in one of these cars so that if you have a problem, you can pick up those points somewhere. We have there's different types of racers. There's hard chargers that run hard all the time and push the limit. They run off track a lot. They crash a lot. And they're just fast. Okay. There's drivers that are consistent, which are consistently fast. There's drivers that struggle. There's different kind of drivers, but hard chargers, I like to call the hard chargers, the ones that'll push the limits all the time. I'm a very conservative driver. Okay. I can make tires last in an endurance race. That's why I'm kind of at a little bit of a disadvantage now that we've eliminated some of the longer races, because that's where I can make fuel last. I'm not a hard charger. I get very conservative when I have an issue. So I will be very, very conservative if there's a problem area for me on a track, and it does cost me lap times. That's why I don't set fast time very often. So, like I said, there's different kind of drivers. Some people will want to drive a car that's really fast all the time. Again, the reason we're balancing so many of these cars out is I want everybody to find a car they're comfortable driving, and they can drive as fast as they are comfortable driving. And they might win some races doing so. They might have really good finishes doing so. I don't want it to be where the car is the reason the person is winning. That's why I've instituted the draft, is because it's making it a little bit of a balance out. But there's enough cars on here that have good performance that everybody should be able to find 4 or 5 cars that they're comfortable in. So if we get to one of those tracks and you got a draft where we're only allowing 1 car, I'll probably allow 2 at most tracks, but where it's just a sole, where we're just running history cars. But because it's such a small field this week, because of 2 classes, I'm only allowing 1 of each. So have your cars that you want to drive ready, the cars you're comfortable driving. Don't just drive one because somebody's fast in it. Different people drive different ways. If you're comfortable and you can get fast in a car, then you're probably going to do very well. And again, this is one of those cars where you could put softs on, go out and set a blistering lap, and get that extra point. And remember how I said how the points are? Anything past 10th in qualifying heat races is the same. Anything past 12th in the main races is the same. So if you have a problem, you could actually pick up yourself 5 positions just by getting 5 or 6 just by getting a fast lap. And that's where you might want to choose a car that you can put soft tires on. I'm keeping that limit hard at 616 because it works for these numbers on these cars, the weight, the horsepower, and the cars. So it works. So that's why this car, it would be a strong car. This one might even be stronger than the other ones. So if we look, this one came in at 591.88 on mediums. So this car might be a better car. Oops, you know what? I just realized something. The reason it is my mistake. Sorry, people. I made a mistake there. I thought I did this earlier. I did not set the power on this car. So again, this actually affects the PP level. So that was a mistake on my part. I do apologize for that. So this car is at 592.90. Again, still would be a competitive car, I think. All-wheel drive, you're not going to have a lot of problems with grip. So again, I apologize there. But that whole thing about the soft tire still stands for certain cars. So I do apologize. I forgot to put that power restrictor on there. Yeah, because as soon as I saw that, I was like, why is there such a disparity between those 2 cars? But this car, again, this has got a VR6 in as opposed to a turbo 4-cylinder. So this car is going to be torquier. It's going to be smoother to drive. You know, you got almost 260 pound-feet of torque in addition to that 253 horse we're restricted to. So that's another thing. The power restrictor, when you're restricting car down, doesn't really restrict the torque that much. Very little, if any. Okay, so there are 2 more HECS cars, and then there's ones across the board here. This was the car that I used. This was my base car, and I finally just bought a new one for the 09 version. These cars are ones I found in addition to the ones we already have. The Civic type, the 15 Civic. I didn't even know this was. I didn't even realize it was a different one. But this is the Type R, and we'll go in and build this one real quick as well. And this will show you the difference front-wheel drive build and our all-wheel drive build we just did. So first thing we do is we come over here to our customization. And again, you see that TT only cost a couple 100,000 credits to build. So we still got over 15 million credits right now. So first things first. I went to the wrong section. We're going to put our wide body on it. And it's really cheap on this car. I think this was a used car, but I'm not 100%. I think it was a gift. So I don't know where you're going to find this one. I don't know if you can buy this one in Brand Central. You can figure that out if you want to build it. Or you might have it. Most of these cars that I'm adding here today I already had. So, just like all the other ones, we're going to start off here and get some wheels on them. I don't really like those wheels that they've got on there, but this is about as close as we got in here to what they've got. So we'll kind of keep the same theme. And we can only go to 18 inch, so we'll do that. 18 inch wide. So there is your basic buildup after the wide body. Then we're going to add our custom parts. We're going to add our front splitter, our side skirts, and Type R car's already got a diffuser on the back bumper. Custom wing, and it's going to be medium 22, just like all of them. Alright, so there's our cosmetic stuff on our FK2 Civic. Again, we're going to add hood pins, tow hook, Type B, please. And then our other parts, and we can't put a roll cage in this one as well. Light bulbs, super cool. For me, I'm going to add those. Type A rear only. And then we can add our caliper color later. They'll default to red, so this would, I'm not even going to come back in here on this one. But that's where you change that. Alright, so it's a 3,000 pound car, so we got to add weight reduction stage 1. That gets us under the number. Then we're going to go over here and add our power restrictor and our ballast. Fully customizable computer. Whoop. LSD. Manual trans. And our increased body rigidity. Again, that's really the thing that makes these more of a race car, is these increased body rigidity on these, because that is a pretty extensive operation. You can see how much it was. It's weight reduction can be, taking insulation and stuff like that out, trim panels, stuff like that. But so this is a turbocharged engine, so we will add racing intercooler, air filter, muffler, and exhaust. Racing brake pads. I put slot. I hit slotted last all the time on these things, so I'm going to put the slotted ones. I hit the drilled one all the time, so they just go across the board. So this one I switched it up a little bit. Racing clutch and flywheel. Again, you can put whatever brakes you want. I always buy both just because then I can switch it in the screen if I want to. It doesn't make a difference, I don't think, in them, how they perform. Alright, so then we're going to buy our tires, and again, you don't have to buy hards. I am, because these are prototypes. Finish up with your mediums, that way you don't have to make the adjustment in your garage at all. So there is our build. We haven't spent that much credits, about 150,000 credits so far on this one. This was a car we already had. And we're going to set it up here for our HECS spec. So we're going to edit name, or HISR spec. HSSSR. Again, a reminder of what that stands for. It is the HECS stock, which we're starting with a stock car, specially modified, specially dash modified, so S, and then spec race car. Okay? So that's what it stands for. HECS stock, specially modified spec race car. Okay. So now we're on our medium tires. We're going to go set everything here. That's right where it needs to be. 10 above the bump stops. 10 above the bump stops. We're going to set these. I always set them at 6. You can set those at 5 if you want. We're going to set everything in the middle on our settings. Leave that where it's at. We're going to put these at 0. Again, you can set your diff where you want. I had been adjusting those for a time, but I've kind of stopped adjusting those. We're going to go 25 on the downforce, and then this one we're going to go down. Let's do this down to 100. All right, this thing's a little light now, not much, so we're probably going to need about maybe 15. No. Let's do 30. Okay. 28. 28 on the ballast. And again, this is a very front-heavy car, so we'll move our positioning there. We'll get a little bit better performance points there. Now, we're at 364 horse, so we're just going to take a max and see where that gets us. 255. So there we go. We don't even have to get into the output adjustment. 70% on that one, and then 250 on the top speed adjustment. All right. So, buzzing right along here. Whoop. Oh, what did I do? That was weird. Oh, I know what I did. I hit the R1 accidentally there. Okay. So, 2800, 255 horse. This is a nice max one here. But again, its performance points is at 587.15 because we had to add weight to a light car and restrict the power quite a bit. So again, only weight reduction stage 1 on this one is what you need. Alright, on to the next build. So, we've done that. Let's do our GTR V-Spec 97. This is the R33. So this one, you see it starts with 319 horse and it's pretty heavy. So we're going to have to do some weight reductions on this one. Now I've built an R32, R34, so we're going to build the R33. I've also built a 99 WRX and the 2014, so we're going to build the 2004 WRX. So we know, everybody knows right where the specs need to be. Oops, I went the wrong way. So R33s, I've always actually really liked the R33s. The only thing I don't really like about the R33s is the back end. I don't particularly like the R32s as much as I do the R33s, but they're more popular. The R33s were only made a few years, so we're going to add a wide body to this one. R33 starts to incorporate a lot of what you see in the R34 that makes it so much cooler. All right, so we got our nice wide R33 now. We're going to go in it and do our cosmetic and body upgrades, starting with our tires. And again, do that wide body first or you'll be doing everything again, adding everything back in again. So let's see what we got. We got any sort of a 5-spoke looking... Nah, I don't really like the factory wheels anyway. You know what?
2,800 pounds, right?
Yes, sir. All right, so our tires. Whoops. We got to do wide. So I'm going to do something a little different on this one. I don't really like these 5-spoke wheels, but we're just going to make it a little different. Custom parts front. Type B, we're going to want the Type B splitter. Side skirts. Those are pretty much the same. We're going to add Type B because we're going to put an accent on these. And then Type B on the rear diffuser. Wing, as always, custom wing, medium, 22. Alright, so there's our cosmetic build. Now we'll add our hood pins. Tow hook, type B, please. Unless you're going to whine about it. Type C on the roll cage. Light bulb, you can be super cool just like me, or whatever you want to put on there. Type A, rear only. Look how big that opens that nice grill opening there. And then we got a couple of choices. Again, you can run whatever you want on these type of grills. I like the GTR in there. I actually like the GTR in there. Some people like to take it out. I like the GTR in there. You can run whatever you want on that, and then we'll be able to fill in our caliper colors. Probably just going to leave it red on this one again. So we're closing.
Got the BMW M3 Evolution 89 dialed in, I think. I have to get it down to 255 horse though.
Okay. Yeah, Steve, I will show you the spec on that one since you mentioned it. I'm going to go through those real quick in just a few minutes. But, you know, remember, always buy everything that you need. But that's a good one. Yeah, that Evolution is a good one. I've had fun driving that one in challenges, but I unmodify it. So, all right, so now we got to buy our performance stuff here for this R33. First thing we need to do is things kind of fat. I'm going to drive her down. Weight reduction stage 1. Weight reduction stage 2. Power restrictor. Whoop. I'm one step ahead of myself. And ballast. All right, so now we're at 2886, so we're going to have to get a third weight reduction. So that'll be right here. Fully customizable computer. Again, our standard quadfecta here of stuff we get. LSD, manual trans.
Yay, it's loaded up with goodies, LOL.
Weight reduction stage 3. Okay. And then this is a turbocharged car, so we're going to do racing intercooler. Again, you see we're really pushing our horsepower limit up on this one with everything we add to it. So don't forget our back pads and kit. Again, I'm going to do it backwards and do the slotted kit. Racing clutch and flywheel, fully customizable suspension, brake balance controller, and our tires. Kind of buzzing through this. Oh, you know what? One thing we got to get the all-wheel drive cars I'm requiring is the torque vectoring center differential. So there we are. Nothing in the Extreme and Ultimate. Let's just verify we've got everything correct. Weight reduction stage 1 and 2. Power restrictor and ballast. Fully customizable computer, LSD manual transmission. Increased rigidity and weight reduction stage 3. Racing intercooler, air filter, muffler, exhaust, pads, kit. Clutch and flywheel, suspension, brake balance controller, and our tires. So there's our build. Very quick. Just a few minutes. Like I said, these are really easy. You're basically maxing out the race car factor of the car. And then we're going to go up here, set our setting sheet. HECS spec. We're going to set it at 10 above. Like I said, I'm setting everything else in the center. And at the beginning, this is going to be our BOP. So I keep going back and forth about letting people adjust things, but right now I want all the suspension settings basically the same. And I'll go over that at the driver's meeting at our practice tonight. So again, we're going to do a practice, so I would suggest practicing, because of the draft, I would suggest practicing the Group 2 cars and the HECS cars. We're going to go somewhere in the middle here. That's roughly in the middle, I guess. Yeah, that's probably good. And we're going to dock this down to 175. All right, so now we got to add some weight, and not a lot on this one. Let's go, I think it's 20. Oh, 21, 2, 3, 23. 23 on the ballast. Again, we can shove it to the back. Hey, 5 or so. 5 minutes or so. Okay. All right. We're going to knock this down to 250. And then we're going to just do our restrictor to max. We're still at 273, so we're going to have to go down to like 90, let's say 93. 93. Look, I'm getting good at building these things. I can know the percentages already. All right, so another car with good numbers. Again, just weight reduction stage 1, 2, 3 is your only thing you really have to modify on the car itself, other than all of our bolt-on stuff we use. Now this one is at that number where when you put the softs on it, it's still in spec. So this would be another one of those cars that this car will drive well. I know this car will drive well. All the Skylines drive well. So there's your settings here, and you've got a lot of adjustment on this car. Even with the BOP stuff, you can still set your differentials. You can still set your aero and your brake controller. So, and of course, we're going to allow once we get into practicing, we'll probably start allowing some adjustments on the transmission. But for now, I want every one of them set at 250 on the hissers and 300 on the cup cars. Okay, so for this 300 on the Group 2 cars, I'm sorry. And we'll probably adjust that once we get into practice. We're going to have to start running some laps on these cars. But again, practice will be up here in probably about 3 or 4 hours, 3 hours maybe. I'll set up practice. I want to get through a few more cars, and then I'm getting called to dinner. So I have... I think we can build probably 3 more cars here. But I wanted to touch on a couple of these. This one here, the SL Coupe 54, I am not using my only SL Coupe, but it looks like we would be able to get this one in spec if somebody wanted to drive this. Again, we're going to have that vintage race at Goodwood coming up at the end of the summer. So that's something we could work on. This Fairlady Z, this one I wanted to see if this one would fit under the spec. And then this car here, I don't know. I didn't build this car because we had the Megain, but this car might be more competitive. So I'm going to build this one for you guys. So real quick, we're going to go through these. I'm not going to do a lot of explanation here. We're going to buzz through this Z car real quick. This one is pushing the limits, so I'm very curious to see if this one's going to work. So let's see if this one will stay in the limits when we build it. Wide body's pretty inexpensive on this. This will start off as a used car. I bought it from the used car center. It wasn't cheap, but it wasn't, it wasn't like a $200,000 car to start. $200,000 credit car. Ooh, it smells good. All right, so let me get through this real quick. I'm going to buzz through this, like I said, as fast as possible. Again, as close as you can to 17. Wide always. Okay. Ooh, that looks good. Those look good on there. All right, we'll get that applied. We got our wide body. We got our 18-inch in this case, as closest to 17 as we could get. Tires. And I bumped out one too many, trying to go in a hurry. So let's slow it down. Custom parts. Front. Splitter. Side. This type. Okay. Rear. Diffuser. Wing. Medium 22. Alright, there's your build on your car. Hood pins. Tow hook type B. Roll cage type C. Light bulbs, like I said, super cool, just like me. If you want to be cheesy. Type A rear only. Again, that's for marketing purposes. And we'll leave the default calipers on this one. I'm not going to come back and change the color, but you can do whatever caliper you want to use on your cars. Caliper color. So again, tuning shop, this car is pretty porky. Again, they build SUVs off this platform, so these cars are always a little heavier than they should be. Weight reduction stage 1, weight reduction stage 2, power restrictor. In fact, the car that I drive, the FX35, is why this car is so fat. All right, so our quadfecta of parts that we have on every single one. Fully customizable manual, increased body rigidity. This is a naturally aspirated VQ37. This is a 3.7 liter. Racing brake kit. Brake pads, and don't forget your exhaust manifold. Why did it... Oh, it like stuck. Alright, brake balance controller. Fully customizable suspension. Racing clutch and flywheel. And our tires. Alright, so there's our build. We're at 378 horse. Again, we're going to be pushing a lot of horsepower out of this car. Alright. Car settings. Edit name. Again, put everything in the middle. It's all we can do for BOP right now. You can still move your anti-roll bar between 5 and 6 and your arrow if you want. But I want to start off at these numbers. We're going to leave that there. We're going to put this to the center. Again, you can put the speed at 250 to start. All right, so now we're going to do 75 here. Again, I'm trying to do as close to the center as I can and have it some nice even number here. Let's do 155 on this one. Now we're going to be pushing it on this one. Let's see. Okay, so first thing we got to do is we got to get about 102 pounds on this thing, which is going to be, what is that, about 40? Ooh, I almost guessed right. Okay, 46. We're going to max out our restrictor and see where that puts us. 265, so not too bad, I guess. Then we'll go output adjustment. You can go 96 on the output adjustment. Oh, this is why this is important. Look at, we are over the number. So we're going to have to go on the output adjustment. We have to go to 95. That still doesn't do it. Yeah, this one is probably, unless we can... There we get it in there. Let's see. Okay, we're barely in the spec here. So this car is, you're going to be really limited what you can adjust on this car. So if we go to 251 on the power, which again I want to be between 250 and 255. 255 is going to be max. Yeah, you're really going to be pushing it with this car. But so you're going to be limited adjustments, but you could run it. It's going to be high on the PP level, so it could be run. But there would be where you would have to be spec'd out for it to work. And you're going to have to pay real attention to your arrow. You're not going to give a lot of leeway there, because arrow really affects the PP when you mess with it. So you're going to have to play around with it, because make sure you can safely get in the room, because the rooms will be set at 616. No exceptions. So if you're going to choose that, the Z33 is a little better, and you got a little bit more to play with. So again, that is down in here. So, all right, one more car I want to build here before we go, and this is one I have not built. Again, the WRX and the GT Limited, I'll do at the intro of our build tonight, and then we'll address this 308 GTB oddity later on. So we're going to build this Clio because I haven't built this thing, and it might be better than the Megane just because of where it falls on what it's already got for power. So we're going to start off with our wide body. And this car should be pretty cheap because it's an Econo box, so it should be pretty cheap to build here. In fact, we probably won't have to restrict it. We may have to add something to it. Okay, car customization. Again, we're going to do our wheels and tires after our another kind of a quasi 5-spoke here. We're going to put something a little different on it. 17 wide. Okay, so there's that. We've wide-bodied it. We've done that. We got to add our front splitter. Side skirts. Being a trophy, this probably has a diffuser on the bumper. Now, this is going to bring up one of the enigmas. Now, this is the closest thing we have, and the only other option we have that's closest to the medium 22. You see the side plates on this are very similar. So this is like the other hatchbacks require that undermount type of wing on it. So that would be what this car would require. Racing items, again, we're going to put hood pins on it. We're going to put tow hook on it. And another car we can't put a roll cage on. Most of these econo boxes you can't put roll cages in them. Light bulb, again, super cool, just like me. License plate rear only, and again, that's for marketing for the series. We'll leave the red. This thing already has red rotors on it, so we'll leave them because it's a trophy. And then we're going to go out here and add in our tuning stuff. We don't need to reduce power on this, or reduce weight on this car, but we are going to have to add ballast. So it will be hurt eventually on its performance points because of that. Okay, so we're going to skip over the weight reductions on this car since it's already light. Fully customizable computer, fully customizable LSD, fully customizable manual. Again, parts are pretty cheap for this car. Increased body rigidity. This is a turbocharged car. We're going to add racing intercooler, racing air filter, racing muffler, and racing exhaust manifold. We will have to restrict this car. Brakes, kit. Again, I buy both. You don't have to. Racing clutch and flywheel. Fully customizable suspension. Brake balance controller. And our tires. And there you go. So
the BMW at 255 horse and 2,800 pounds on soft tires at 606 pages.
Yeah, because it's at in the 90s. Yeah, it's in the 90s on the spec medium tires. So yep, yeah. So you can run. You'd be able to run for that fast lap on that one. That's a good driving car. A lot of these cars are going to drive good because of the way we've spec'd them out. But unfortunately, this car is going to be harmed. It's already 586, just like the other small cars in here. Nope. Yeah, I didn't want to do a duplicate, but... So we're going to edit name. HSSR Hisser Spec. Alright, so let's set her up. There's 10 above the bump stop, 10 above the bump stop. Alright, every one of these cars is set the same. Why don't they just set them in the middle? That doesn't make any sense. Because you
can't go over the 255/2800, right?
Right, yeah, because that's be the room limits when we set them. So yeah, so that's why I keep pointing out the fact, because the 616 is going to be the max PP level, max performance points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, somewhere in the middle here is where I've been trying to set these. Sum it up. All right, so we got to add weight to this car, unfortunately. So it's going to have to. It's going to have to be 200 pounds. So it's going to really hurt this one. Whoop. Ooh, that's a lot of weight on this car. So that's why these light cars that have an advantage get hurt, because... Okay, so 96 on the restrictor. We'll move all the weight to the back. That'll help balance it out. But still, 576 on this. And this is a newer car, so it's not gonna be very, very competitive as far as, like straight line speed. I think straight line speed is where the performance points really matters.
If I have room on the pages, the hard limits of horsepower and weight take precedence.
Correct. That's why I said, look at the cars that are around 600 to 605. Those are the ones you can still put soft tires on. And there's quite a few of them. And you know what I'm going to do, Steve? When I get done with dinner, I'm going to go and I will go through every single car again, because I want to organize them in order again, because I've messed them up putting all these new cars. So I'll come in and build 2 more cars, and then we'll go over all the specs on them. But yes, it's really simple. You gotta stay in. In fact, it's not just the limits. You gotta stay how I've got it set up. It's not. You're not gonna mess around with the limits. It's going to be how I got it set up, and that's hard line. Because again, we're like a sanctioning body, so we're coming in here and we're setting a setting for a specific car, and that's where it's going to be. The only thing I'm going to allow you to change is things like brake balance. You're going to change aero if you can. You can change some other things, but again, like on this car gets hurt because it's actually too light for the series.
Thank you for clarification. Sorry for all the questions.
No, I want questions, and that way I can clarify that, and because I know people are going to have a lot of questions about it. So I appreciate the questions, and I will keep answering them. But again, everything, I'm pretty hardline on all the parts being on there, all the settings we want to use only the restrictor, unless we absolutely have to get into the ECU to get in spec. And then, of course, the ballast is pretty straightforward. I would always suggest, if the car's not a 50-50 split, moving the ballast to the part where the car's has the least weight.
Question, why?
Why what? And that's again, that's the conundrum, and that's why we're doing some of these things like we're doing here. So.
LOL Mako. I don't know, just why.
All right, so just going through the list here real quick. As you get to these older cars, it seems to fall off. There's a few of them that have a better performance, like this Corvette and this Mustang. These cars are fairly even. Disc Supra, you guys have known, has been really good. It's available in the used car center right now. I don't have any problem with somebody using that over me. I have at least 10 cars I'm planning on driving. So
because the king made it so.
That's right. King said so. So, all right. So there's your Sport Evolution, Steve, and I'll jump right into that. So this is one I've driven a ton in challenges. So this is the setting on it with everything on it. This thing's right at the weight. We had to add a little weight in it, and I think that's what hurts its PP points.
Thank you for the answer.
So again, I've got everything set, kind of a baseline here. Again, we'll be modifying some of this, and I've been moving these to 3 on the newer ones I've been going into. And those, as long as they're even, that's fine. 75, 150, about in the same spot. We got to have 70 on the ballast. It's a 50-50 weight distribution car, so I just left it in the middle. You wouldn't want that anywhere else. Power restrictor is just 93, so that should get you where you want. I'm not sure. This one may have a little wear on the engine because I've used it so much. That might be why you're at 255. But the weight is not a problem. So
I've got the ballast at 70.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that your engine might be a little stronger, so I had to pull
2,800.
Yep, 2,800 is the spec weight. I don't really. I know we had the thing where Adam didn't want to put weight reduction on his car last year, and I was like,
91.
So you're at 91, huh? See, and again, this engine may have some wear on it because I use this this is the same car I used in the DDRS series. So it probably has some wear on the engine. So again, if you've got a used car, the first thing, and dang it, I should have said that. I should have said that at the top. If you got a used car, the first thing I would do, if you're going to plan on using that car and it's one you really like, is I would go ahead and change the oil and do an engine overhaul. And you don't have to, but you're going to have to probably adjust your settings. Because I'm down a horsepower.
255 HP.
Yep, that sounds right. Yep. Yeah, and the game does take that into account, because I'll show you real quick before I sign off here. Look at my new G308 I bought. Look at the settings here, right here. See right here? Normal, normal, normal. Even the body structure. So this car is my one. I noticed that, and I wanted to point that out.
Screenshot of my settings.
Yeah, it should be fine. I think you got it. You added everything in there. So, but yeah, that's why I want to address this car, because this is weird. Because again, I've said this. If you look at it, I dropped half off the ballast on this thing, and it's still at 2,429 pounds, and when it showed up in the screen, is at 2,800. So I added weight reduction, and then I went in there and it was maxed at the ballast. I'm like, what the heck? I can't use this car. So it's kind of now I've just got this fancy looking dead weight car. But anyway, I think I've touched on everything we need. If anybody has any questions, hit me up in the PlayStation app, and I will try to answer those and address those in the next video. Made a couple more, which I didn't get into here tonight. The Boss 429 Mustang. And this is a hisser spec on that one. Weight reduction stage 1, 2, 3. Otherwise, all our bolt-on stuff. And then you got to run it down to 70 max on the restrictor, 76 on the ballast. I could have put this to the middle here. This car comes out with a pretty good weight distribution, to be honest with you, and 85 on the output adjustment. This is a 429 version.
Oil done, still 255.
No, I'm saying my car is probably worn off. My car is probably worn out. That's why I'm 1 horsepower under you. So we got that one, and then I also made my Camaro up. Oh yeah, that sounds like a race car right now. And this one had weight reduction stage 1 and 2, and then I did all kinds of cosmetic stuff. There's no spoiler on this one. You see, there's no front downforce. But this one just needs a 75 on the restrictor. The ballast I do need to add in. I thought I did this. That's kind of weird. Maybe I wanted to touch out on the video. There. 96 on the ballast. We'll move that all the way to the back. After our weight reduction. So this one's not horrible. 586.80 on mediums. And probably a little too much aero on this one. Let's just do 80 on this one. Yeah, so that gives us an okay number. So again, there's some more. I'll go over those on another review video. But we're kind of jumping around here a lot at the end, but I wanted to show everybody we built some extra cars and stuff like that, and I'll put them in order in the next video, and we'll get everything listed, and then we'll go down the list and just do a quick spec so you can just do a quick screenshot if you want. So that's it for now. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you around in a few hours here, and I'll do a quick little video just to go over all these HSSR cars. There's so many of them. We'll go over the spec again, and it will be just it won't be a build. It won't be a build race. Or a build video. It'll be just a spec video. So that'll be all that'll be, and then we'll come on after that for practice at Daytona. So everybody ready? Again, any questions, hit me up in the PlayStation app, and we'll get things moving. Thanks, everybody, again. Don't forget, tomorrow night, HECS Event 1. Yes, we will see you guys all around, and until then,